Season 5, Episode 31 of Brackets, Bubbles, and Bid Stealers. I am Sam Fetterman. Thank you so much for joining us tonight at BBBCBB Podcast on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. If you are listening on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts, I hope you're having a glorious day because it is 7 p.m. Eastern. We are exactly 16 hours away from college basketball resuming. IU Columbus against IU Indy tomorrow. And I'm here with Jonathan Lidskin because, of course, I am. Jonathan, are you hyped up or what?
I am very, very excited. It does not feel real that we are finally here. Aiden's in the chat. Let's go. He's back. But yeah, we got an exciting day tomorrow. Really good opening night slate, as well as some really good, great games across the first week. Friday and Saturday have some real bangers. And, we got a great show planned for tonight, as always, the Christmas Eve special.
This is always a fun show. We have a terrific show planned for you today. Momentarily, TJ from CBB Content will be joining us. We will be just getting hyped for college basketball season and going over hot takes that you guys, the viewers and followers, put out on Twitter. I tweeted out about an hour and a half ago to give us some hot takes. Some of them are serious. Most of them are unserious. And we now have our first guest joining us. TJ, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you? I was just eating some chicken.
We are great. And so, Jonathan, the first guest this season for the Christmas Eve special is a transfer. Is the transfer portal ruining brackets?
That's true. That's very true. Some people have argued that the transfer portal is ruining the sport, and a TJ down there is not helping the case here.
Yeah, I mean, I think I made it wasn't a lateral move, so it was more of an upgrade. But yeah,
big NIL from Madison.
More NIL.
No, yeah, I don't think I got good NIL. It wasn't about the NIL. It was more the fit. So yeah,
didn't work with Rick Barnes, so he goes to Greg Gard. Okay. All right. Anyway, TJ, today I tweeted out, drop your hottest college basketball take for the upcoming season. And we have a bunch of responses that we're going to go through. A lot of them are not serious. That's the thing. So yeah. I'm going to put them up right on the screen. If you'll give me a second, if you're listening, this is probably not the best content for you right now. So TJ, say something.
What do you just say something related to?
Just talk about basketball for a second.
Oh, okay.
Tell us what you're excited about for this season.
I'll say, I'm excited to see Northwestern. I'm excited to see them win the Big Ten. But no, on a serious note, I think that one of my hot takes, I think Brooks Barnhizer, I think he'll be Big Ten Player of the Year. Or in the race. I think he'll be at least like one of the top guys that finishes, or top 3 in the race. Depending on how he recovered from that injury, I think he could win Big Ten Player of the Year. I'll start with that. Little biased of a take, but yeah.
Jonathan, any thoughts on that?
I think if Northwestern has success, it's certainly possible. It's you don't really often see a player win Big Ten Player of the Year in the conference without his team at least having a good year. So, Sam, we've talked about Northwestern, how they're going to play post Bowie, past the Bowie era, and if Barnhizer steps up, I think that's certainly a team that can continue to have success as they've had the last couple of years. And if they do have success, just to kind of go hand in hand with that, it probably is because Barnhizer and a couple other guys step up and Barnhizer plays like an all-conference guy.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I mean, I guess I didn't really factor in the team success part of it, but I think he was, how many rebounds was he averaging last year? 8 a game, 9 a game?
Yeah, he rebounds really well. Barnhizer is really good.
I mean, he looks good on the stat sheet too. So that's as long as he can shoot the 3 ball good. I don't know what his percentage was last year, but he looks good on the stat sheet, and most of the time that's what I guess the team success, which I wasn't factoring in, is a big thing. So maybe he won't win Big Ten Player of the Year, but I think he'll be on the first team for sure. But yeah.
All right. So let's take a look at some of the hot takes. We have 48 replies, 36 retweets.
Popular guy.
This is a funny one. Jake Circus not realizing that Chicago State's in the NEC. Mason really likes Florida this year.
Jeez, that's a pretty.
I think we all like Florida on this podcast. TJ, what do you think of Florida?
Yeah, I like them a lot. I think they're a good team. I think they're pretty deep. They have good guards. So I think they should be. I don't know. Do you think they're? Where do you guys have them?
Top 15.
Top
yeah,
15?
like
Okay.
top 20-ish. I don't know if they're
concerned about backcourt depth and if Walt isn't like I don't think it's a national championship team. I think
that's a crazy team.
I think that's a stretch, but I can see them being near the top of the SEC. I think they will be near the top of the SEC. They're going to be really good. Jonathan, anything to add on Florida?
Yeah, no, I don't think they're super deep in the backcourt, like you said. I'm really interested to see if Urban Klavzar like cleared. Is he good to go?
I don't think he is yet.
Okay, I know some of those guys have started to get cleared. It's hard to keep track of who's cleared and who's not. But I kind of like Denzel Aberdeen a little bit. His game thought flashed at times last year. I wouldn't be surprised if he took a jump and he was the real guard / wing off the bench that they relied on. But yeah, it's tough to rule out like a large group of teams for a national championship the day before the season starts. But yeah, I'd say there are probably some concerns with Florida when it comes to winning a national championship. Being a really good team, maybe winning the SEC, certainly possible. But we'll see.
All right, then the next take, we've got Pranav being crazy. We've got Dallahan. We've got.
Is any of these serious? These takes?
Some of them are. As you get deeper,
we're getting there.
Don't think this happens.
Florida. Throwing around takes around Florida A&M.
Don't know enough about the SWAC, but
yeah, I don't know anything about.
I think Crary was a good hire there. He won a lot at St. Thomas, the NAIA school down in Miami. I think he's going to win about as like he'll win some level at Florida A&M. I just don't know how easy it is to win there. Like that board tried to block that hire for a long time. He's coaching on like a 1-year contract, I think. And
I love the muted account right there.
Yeah, we're not going over that. Cardiac Q says that he doesn't think RJ Davis is going to be an All-American. I have a hard time seeing that. I'm quite certain RJ Davis is going to be an All-American.
I can get behind that if it said first team All-American, because these things are really fluid on a year-to-year basis. Like guys come back all the time and just aren't as good. Guys get better. Situations change, stuff like that. I'd have a hard time believing he won't be on one of the 3 All-American teams.
Yeah,
I just think you look at a guy like RJ Davis. He averaged 20 a game last year. He was on a top 5, top 10 team all of last year. We think they're going to be really good again. And he needs to score in order for that team to be really good, because Elliot Cadeau is not a scorer. They're not getting post scoring this year like they were last year. There are other scoring options. You look at Ian Jackson. He's a freshman. Who knows? I think he's going to be really good, but RJ Davis is going to need to score a lot in that backcourt. Seth Trimble, we think he'll score. We think he'll be better this year. But again, RJ Davis is going to be the alpha of this team, and they're going to be really good. And I think he's a surefire All-American at some level, unless he gets hurt. I would be very surprised if RJ Davis is not an All-American. Guest on the show tonight, Jack Church, will be joining us at about 8:30 to talk about women's basketball, and his take is about women's basketball. The women's national championship gets more viewers than the men's national championship. Jonathan, what are your thoughts?
I disagree. I think that the viewership will be down from the previous year because Caitlin Clark is not in the sport anymore. And that's not to say that there are still not great players in the sport, but she was a player that revolutionized women's college basketball and the way and how many people watched it. And she's no longer here.
I agree that Caitlin Clark was a revolutionary factor, but I also look at the timing of these games. It's 4:00 on a Sunday on ABC versus this year. I think it's going to be CBS again for the men, but at 9:20 on a Monday. And I think there's a chance that men's basketball, I've said this all offseason. I think this is going to be one of those years in men's college basketball that people will look back on and say, man, why can't this year be more like 2019, 2024, sorry, 2025? Because we have those superstars in college basketball like Cooper Flagg and like Ace Bailey that are freshmen that are going to be NBA studs. So really the first time we've had that since the Paolo Chet year. And I think that men's college basketball will be better this year on that scale, on like in terms of getting ratings than it did last year. But I also don't think women's basketball is going to see as big of a drop off as some other people are saying. We'll talk about this later with Jack. There's still superstars in women's basketball. Again, if you asked the average person right now to name a college basketball player, there's still probably a good chance that they will name a women's player like a Paige Beckers or a Juju Watkins before they give you Cooper Flagg, before they give you someone in the men's game right now. I think the women's game still has superstars on par or maybe exceeding that of the men's game at the moment. So I would not be surprised if the women's game.
I mean, there will be emerging names in the sport that you know that a lot of people may already know.
Iona will be perfectly fine. I don't think anybody's take is that Iona won't be perfectly fine.
Yeah. What's the baseline for that? Like,
I mean, they were not great last year, I guess, is the baseline.
But like lost the coach, lost a bunch of players, like
lost the whole team except for one guy, and then completely revitalized the roster again this year.
Yeah.
So I think they'll be fine. I think everyone thinks they'll be fine. UCLA wins the Big Ten. We talked about this with Joe Jackson on the Big Ten preview. TJ, we haven't heard your take on UCLA.
Yeah, I think they're a pretty good. I like UCLA. I mean, I'm a USC fan, but I'll give it that. They have a good roster. I just don't know if they're winning the Big Ten. I mean, I don't know about that. I kind of see. I liked Illinois, and then I saw that like Ole Miss exhibition game or whatever. I mean, obviously you can't put a lot of like stock into those games, but I don't know about their defense now. So I honestly have no idea who's going to win the Big Ten. So you say I could win it. I don't really see it. I mean, I do like Kobe Johnson. I think that was a hell of a pickup. I think their defense will be great too. William Kyle, blocking, everything. Yeah.
I don't think it's a hot take to say like anybody 1 through like 10 or 11 in Big Ten power rankings win Big Ten.
Yeah.
That Big Ten is so wide open right now. If you wanted to tell me Maryland wins it, Illinois wins it, Indiana, sure, like it's like, I could see a scenario where this happens. I'm not a big UCLA believer. Perhaps it's overcorrection for my thoughts on UCLA last year, but it's the same backcourt, a lot of guys from losing teams. And I'm not convinced about Bilodeau. I'm not. He's been getting a lot of preseason hype. I'm not super convinced. Not convinced by. I don't really think Sky Clark is going to help this team out very much.
Yeah,
I've said I think by the end of the season, Trent Perry is going to be a huge piece for them. But could Mick be a little bit hesitant to play a freshman big minutes early when he's got other options, and knowing what happened last year?
Yeah, I'm kind of iffy on UCLA this year. I absolutely see the world where they can win the Big Ten, but I also think that for a lot of teams, my question with them is like they obviously have depth. They obviously did a lot in the portal, and Cronin really tried to zone in and correct these mistakes that they made last year. But like, how much improvement do you get from Dylan Andrews and Sebastian Mack? Those guys were really relied upon last year as younger players, but weren't quite as efficient as you would want them to be. And that was part of the reason that UCLA was so down last year. I mean, this is a team that finished 152nd in offense last year. So you add Kobe Johnson, your defense is probably going to be really phenomenal and probably be one of the best in the conference. But who is stepping up for you offensively this year? That is my question. And how does Cronin manage these rotations? Because like you have guys on this team that were getting real minutes last year that probably aren't going to play very much this year just because of the sheer number of players they brought in.
These next couple takes, I don't like the takes that say, oh, Team X will make the Sweet 16, the Final Four, before I don't like seeing those takes the day before Selection Sunday. Yeah. I don't like seeing those takes the day before Selection Sunday. I can't tell you if I was going to make the Sweet 16. I think I was really good. I'm really high on Iowa.
Yeah, I like it.
And I think that roster, that internal development structure that they have going there, Josh Dix is going to have a good year. Obviously, Peyton Sandfort is going to be one of the best players in the Big Ten. Owen Freeman will take a step forward. I like the duo of Delwell and Harding as point guards. I am a little bit concerned with the bench beyond Brock Harding, I would say.
Is Thelwell is he starting?
I would presume that Delwell probably starts. But like I'm a little, but more to the point, I'm just concerned, like outside of their top 6, I'm not really sure what they're getting.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if Price Sandfort is all that great. He might be. Cooper Koch will probably have to contribute more than he's ready to.
Offense.
Yeah, Laji Dembele is an interesting one, and then
Traore.
Traore is going to be in their top 6.
Oh shit, he started.
Then even Browns, again, not sure what you're getting from him, and the backups in the front court, I'm not really sure how much you're getting from really anybody outside this top 6. That's my concern.
Yeah, I think my thing with Iowa is how much does your defense improve this year? You were 157th in adjusted defense last year. That can't happen again if your aspirations are to like win a lot of Big Ten games and make the tournament. Fran does always like find ways to win a reasonable amount of Big Ten games. I mean, even last year they went 10-10 in the conference and I think got like the 5 seed, I want to say. But to make the NCAA tournament, it's going to be like, how much does Traore and Thelwell improve your defense?
All right. Again, High Point, we've talked about High Point on this show before. That team is way too talented for that league. They have maybe the 3 best players in that league in Kamani Hamilton, Keza Giffa, and Jocelyn Bodo. They have Chase Johnston, who shoots the crap out of the ball. Demorian Williams is there. Trey Benham, Abdullah Thiam. It's just a stacked roster. They'll be really good in that league. Again, can't tell you what's going to happen. These next takes, I think, with Ohio State and Michigan, I think one of them at least makes the tournament. Mm-hmm. I'm high on Michigan. Not very high on Ohio State. I could see the direction for Ohio State. I think Leonard Hamilton definitely retires after this season. Not sure about Izzo. Texas A&M could miss the tournament, but I would bet on their floor being a tournament team. And I could see the ACC only getting 4. I could see the ACC getting 3. I could see the ACC getting 6. Kyle Neptune won't be fired after the season, even if he doesn't make the tournament. I can't see him not getting fired if they don't make the tournament.
Yeah, there's a standard there.
Mountain West sees minimal drop-off, ends as a 4-bid league. TJ?
I mean, is 4 bids even that much of a drop-off? It was like, what?
That's what it says. It says it sees minimal drop-off.
Oh, shit. I thought it said it sees drop-off. No, yeah, I agree with that. I think it's going to be a good league once again.
I think it'll get 3. I'm not sure about 4. Missouri heads back to the NCAA tournament, Jonathan.
Certainly possible. They were really injured last year, but I don't think that was the true reason that they were as bad as they were. They have alphas this year, like Tony Perkins. Don't know if he's playing yet tomorrow night, but
we'll talk about that game later. That's a big one tomorrow.
Perkins, Mitchell, getting a full season out of Grill. Cruz, I thought was a really good addition. I think it's just about not messing up in non-con again, because this non-conference schedule for Mizzou is really, really bad. And I think if you can win a couple of those games, not play these really bad teams close, keep your Ken Pom, keep your Torvik high enough, and then just, kind of take care of what you need to in conference, steal a couple games here and there. It's a deep roster. I'm really interested to see how Dennis Gates manages this rotation. I can't say I expect them to make the NCAA tournament, but I expect them to at least be in the conversation pretty late into the season.
I hate this take. This is just worded incredibly poorly. No team is a Final Four lock until they've won their game in the Elite Eight. And especially not a Creighton team that I really don't understand the transfers that they brought in. Isaacs and Jamia Neal. We don't know the status if Fedor Zugic is going to play. Who knows? Big Sky wins a game in the NCAA tournament. I'm not there with the Big Sky this year. Montana's probably the top team in that league, and we don't know what's up with if Money Williams is going to be with the team. Obviously, sending thoughts and prayers his way after the family tragedy. We don't know if he's going to be able to, if he's going to be back with the team. Hopefully he is, and hopefully his family is doing well, because he's an electric player. Alabama gets upset early in the tournament. I mean, again,
Tournament take.
Bama dominant. Same take twice in a row. Hot take for forever. No school will see their individual career scoring record broken ever again. I will counter this with Eric Reynolds is 400 points away from breaking Jameer Nelson's all-time scoring record at St. Joe's. Eric Reynolds scored about 600 points each of the last 2 years. I think Eric Reynolds is going to be the all-time leading scorer at St. Joe's after this season. Duke won't win the ACC tournament. Again, that's not a hot take. Duke being the best team in the ACC versus Duke not winning the ACC tournament, completely. Like those two things can happen. Mm-hmm. Duke can also be not the best team in the ACC and win the ACC tournament. I'm not really Albany to the tournament. No, they are not good. They are talented. Sure. I don't think DeMar Langford is going to, I think there's a reason DeMar Langford is at UAlbany. I think there's a reason Kasper Klejček is at UAlbany, and I don't think it's pretty. Those guys are probably a little more talented than what they had last year, but they were really far away last year too. And without Beagle and Thomas, I mean, I don't know.
Also, Vermont it's Vermont.
I also love Amari Marshall. I will say that. Georgia makes the tournament. Yeah, I can see that.
Good take.
Kansas State goes further in March than Kansas, and Georgia makes the Sweet 16. Again, I can't say, but I'm not a big Kansas State guy. Jonathan, you're not either.
No.
TJ, what about you?
No, I don't really like Kansas State that much. I mean, some of the pieces they brought in were good, but I don't know about that. Backcourt's pretty interesting dynamic, in my opinion, with Doug and then Housen, and I think the other guy was Max Jones, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that Max Jones and CJ Jones.
Yeah, that should be interesting. I mean, they could be really good, but yeah.
I think the ceiling's pretty high. UGA makes it to the round of 32 at least. We've already talked about Georgia.
What's with all the Georgia takes?
I don't know, but Georgia is going to be really physical in the front court. They have a talented backcourt. When Deshane, my hot take about Georgia is that when Deshane Montgomery comes back from the ineligibility, I think he's going to be maybe their best player. I think he's going to be awesome for them.
He's not eligible?
Yeah, it was reported end of September that he's missing the first 9 games.
Oh, okay.
UAB and Grand Canyon both reached the Sweet 16. Grand Canyon, another team that is just way too talented for that league. UAB, we both like UAB. Yaxel Lendeberg's awesome. Christian Coleman's fun. They have a team that will be way too athletic for that level, I think. And I could see them being athletic enough to take games in March if that's kind of what we're getting at there.
Here's my here's my take about these two teams together. Grand Canyon has a better chance to make the NCAA tournament. UAB has a better chance to get in at large.
Yeah, I agree. I look at UAB and they pushed San Diego State to the brink last year. I think UAB can, even if they're outmatched talent wise, they have the athleticism to match you athletically if they get a 12 or 13 seed. They will be as athletic as most 4 or 5 seeds.
Give them
UConn will not be a top 15 team this year. No, they will be. I think we can all agree on that.
Over under 8.5 years if he stays at UConn of Dan Hurley not having a top 15 team.
Mm-hmm.
It'll happen sometime soon.
It happened with Coach K.
It's a crazy team.
With Coach K. It happened like once with Coach K.
It happened
UConn
with
will not
Roy.
make the Final Four.
No,
That's
that Brandon Ingram team was like a fringe top 15 team.
All right. LJ Kaysen of Michigan is the best freshman in the country, in the Big Ten, in Michigan.
I don't know what the take is, but I like the LJ Kaysen shout out. He can play.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, Michigan has like 3 freshmen, right? And the other 2 were
all of them, and all of them are guards.
Yeah.
MSU surprised people and is a top 4 seed in the NCAA tournament. Michigan State has been a 7 seed. Michigan State has been the exact same team for the last 5 years.
Michigan State is terrible. Michigan State is awful.
Michigan State getting a 4 seed would take like all 4 of their sophomores and now juniors, I guess, if you include Holloman, like taking a pretty substantial jump. And also Izzo figuring out how to like manage the roster.
And also getting a real center on the roster too.
I think Zapala can be a real center. Just scrolling through these, if any of them stand out to you, we'll go on to it. I'm not sure what the second half of this
Xavier,
take is.
are you kidding me with that?
Xavier will either miss the tournament.
Final
another Xavier take.
Games.
Louisville makes this. UMass is going to have the lowest points per game for and against. Their backcourt is too good to like score like 58 points a game. So no. But they will play slow.
The MAC will have more bids.
Yes, the MAC is a 13 bid league. The MAC is a 13 bid league. Houston is a bubble team. No,
all right, we could skip right over that take right there.
Pitt finishes 3rd in the ACC, and Jalen Lowe is an All-American. Love this take. I don't agree with it. I don't agree. I can't get that far.
That's what we're kind of looking for here.
But like this take, I can get behind it because I think Jalen Lowe is awesome. I think there's a good chance he's better than Carlton Carrington was last year. And the ACC after second, I could see a lot of different teams filing in there. If Jalen Lowe averages like 19-6, why not Pitt? And Jalen Lowe can average 19-6. Ohio State finishes top 4 in the Big Ten. I disagree. Gonzaga wins their first championship. It's possible, not likely though, without Venters.
Yeah.
That's why I'm winning it all this year. Hot take right there.
Zaga, okay.
Yeah, I just like their team. I don't know.
Delaware State to win the MEAC, and Doug Gottlieb will do well enough to confusingly jump ship to an AAC school. Temple or Wichita State, probably. Well, both of those schools.
Both of those coaches are not losing their jobs.
Those coaches are in year 2, so no. But interesting. Indiana officially becomes
one up there about Iowa finishing 4th in the Big Ten that I think is a good take.
Rutger.
All right, looking at quote tweets now. Here are a few from Trilly Donovan. Cincinnati and Xavier both make the Sweet 16. Love this take again, though. It's about tournament stuff, so can't really say. Notre Dame makes the NCAA tournament. Again, love it. I think Notre Dame has the backcourt to do it. I don't know if they have the front court. Kevin Jai is maybe good enough. Wait, hold on.
Yeah, he's on Notre Dame.
No, you're good. Yeah, you got it right.
Yeah, okay. Hold on.
Tay Davis is also in the.
I'm getting a bunch of dudes confused here. But yeah, that
Nikita, whatever his name is.
Konstantiniovsky. I like Alako. But I'm not sure if Alako is going to be like that guy here. High Point goes undefeated in a Big South play. Yeah.
Can I give a hot take based off that?
Yeah, go.
I don't actually think this because High Point was in my top 100, but Longwood can win the Big South and wouldn't be surprised if they won it over High Point.
I would be surprised if they won the regular season. I would be very surprised if they won the regular season.
Okay.
FSU ends the year as the lowest ranked high major team in KenPom. I think I agree with that. Maryland Eastern Shore wins the MEAC. They didn't have a coach until July. Nova finishes the season under 500 and Neptune gets fired. I don't think that's a very hot take.
Yeah, that's not a hot take.
I think this one, I've been listening to the 3-man weave and Jim. I think it's Jim. It's just totally disillusioned about Kansas right now. He's just totally he's like, I don't think this team is really that deep, and it's interesting, especially if Shaq Moore is down. and David Coates, the first guy off the bench.
Yeah. Like,
But I think
you're relying on
Fleury
Jamar
just makes the
McDowell.
front court much better. Mizzou won't make it to the Final Four. I agree, they won't make it.
Real quick on the Kansas front, what would like the season have to look like for Kansas this year for us to like be sitting here in March and be like, Bill Self may have lost his fastball? Well, what would it have to look like? Because I mean, I have Kansas as the number 2 team in the country. I think they're an unbelievable team. But
I mean, I think if they like finish as like a 7 seed or something, like if they finish below like a 5 seed, then we'll definitely be thinking about it.
Okay. But mean, they were a 4 seed, and it was a catastrophe for them last year.
I mean,
they were also like dead. Their entire team was down to like 3 guys because they were all injured.
Yeah.
That was also like, okay, the injuries weren't his fault, but building a roster that had no depth was his fault. Georgia will be ranked in the AP top. We talked about Georgia. I love Georgia hype as like a team that could sneak up on some people this year. Maybe they're not sneaking up on people. Okay. Okay. I don't really know what to say to that.
Ty Johnson's good.
Isaiah Nelson will nail a game-winning 3-pointer this season. Okay. UConn loses 10-plus games this season. Don't see that happening, but could see them losing like 8 or 9.
Dude, that second one is awesome.
Texas is the 5th best team in its own state. Well, let's see. Houston,
Baylor.
Texas Tech, Baylor, Texas A&M.
That's 4.
And TCU is right there too.
Dude, and SMU, dude.
And SMU's there as well. Like, it's possible.
Rodney Terry is the 7th best team in his own state.
What do you guys think of Texas, though? Like, what do you think of their roster?
We don't like them.
I am higher on them than Sam, but it's a flawed roster construction that has good players. If Terry can somehow get them to play together and figure it out, they could have a chance to be good. The 2 kids they took from Indiana State are good players, but they're not going to be good fits in that system.
Yeah.
All right.
How did they get guys from Indiana State? I don't.
No Big Ten team finished outside the top 60. Strong disagree. There's 18 teams in that league.
I mean, they have to play each other. That would take some like unbelievable luck somehow.
There are 18 teams in that league.
Yeah.
One of GCU McNeese High Point finishes makes tournament as an at-large.
That's not
possible.
It's fairly reasonable,
so. Yeah. Another Texas take. There we go. This is the stuff. I like Vanderbilt. It's just that they don't have any semblance of a front court right now with Kajani Wright hurt, and even with Kajani Wright, I'm not sure how I feel about that.
I don't think Kajani Wright is.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. Like, he's not that good. Jonathan?
Yeah, I mean, Vanderbilt's backcourt's very good. I really liked the hire of Mark Byington. But, yeah, I mean, that's an uphill battle. Like, I think they're way better than some people think, but I still picked them to finish 15th in the league, or at least in my power rankings.
Grand Canyon goes FAU style, makes the Elite Eight. Like, just straight up, Grand Canyon cannot go FAU style.
No, they're like people know who they are. Yeah,
like FAU came out of nowhere. Nobody knew anybody on that team. A CAA team wins an NCAA tournament game this season. Depends on the bracket.
Last one to win.
Indiana doesn't make the tournament. It's possible.
Get ready for search season.
Anything with
there's too much talent there to not make the tournament.
They'll make the tournament.
GCU goes on a turn. Here we go. Ryan Hammer. Xavier ends up a top 10-ish team.
Sure.
I'm not sure about top 10 without Traore, but I could see it. Louisville cracks into the top 25, Jonathan.
They're in mine.
Gonzaga finally wins the national. Ooh, Bradley loses less than 5 games all season. Jonathan, what are your thoughts?
Their non-conference schedule, I think, is probably too hard. First of all, in the Missouri Valley, teams beat each other. It just happens. Indiana State lost 2 games really randomly last year. They were like one of the best teams the Valley had in years. I guess like since the Loyola team. Teams beat each other in that league. It's 20 games. It's hard to win on the road there. I would be pretty surprised if Bradley lost less than 5 games. My hot take, though, about Bradley, like in the article, the Missouri Valley preview that I did, is that they would enter conference play with 1 loss or less, which means they beat 2 out of 3 of Santa Clara, San Francisco, and Washington State.
3 out of 4 if you include Canisius.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't like Bradley as much as most people do. Like,
Oh,
I think
really?
I haven't said this much on the podcast. I've said it on Twitter, but not on the podcast. But if you look at that team, in Brian Wardle's tenure, they've been a top 65 defense 3 times. They've been, that was the years Malavi Leons was there. They've only been top 100 once without Malavi Leons. I think it's going to be really difficult to replace him and Connor Hickman. And I think Darius Hannah's great. I think Duke Dean's great. I'm just not convinced that they are going to be as elite on the defense. They'll still be near the top of the valley in defense, no doubt. I know they're probably my pick to win the valley, either them or you and I. Probably slight edge Bradley. But I'm not convinced they're a top 100 team. I'm just not there. And Bradley fans hate me.
What do we think about Illinois State? Do you like them? I think they're underrated.
They're solid. They're solid, but that's about all they are.
Okay.
Yeah. Need to find some shooting.
St. Louis top 6 seed in the tournament from Ryan Hammer.
Isaiah Swope is really good.
I'm okay with that. That's
I don't see an A10 team getting I don't see an A10 team getting a top 6 seed.
I mean, to get a top 6 seed, they have to win what? They got to win like 20.
They also just don't have the up. Like, they don't have the up games. Like, they don't have the up games in the non-conference.
Yeah, nobody wants to play those teams.
27 plus and like a good, like winning the A10 gets them a top 6.
Like, they need to win 27 games or something.
Yeah.
I mean, how many did Dayton win last year? Dayton was 24-6 in the regular season. They beat Cincinnati. They beat St. John's. And they got a 7 seed.
Yeah, I mean,
what's really hot about that is like that could be like a complete uphill battle at like 4 Eastern tomorrow if they lose to Santa Clara.
Oh yeah, no doubt. St. John's Elite 8, possible. VCU and Boise State are Cinderellas. Not sure what Cinderella means in this context.
I don't think Boise State can make
good
it
teams.
Cinderella.
By the way, can we officially say Cinderella does not mean good mid-major team? It does not.
No, it's like
Cinderella means team that defies odds.
Yeah, Cinderella's like Yale.
Teams that win multiple games as like an auto bid in the NCAA tournament.
St. Peter's. Yeah.
Yes, that's a Cinderella. Texas Tech and Georgia. These are not hot takes. Again, not exactly. Oh, wait.
Hold on.
States of Mississippi and Alabama have all. Oh, I read that wrong. Yeah, that's not.
Let's go through this.
Hold on.
Okay.
2-bid ACC would be very shocked. Conference USA and Atlantic 10 along with Greg Candy make the most noise in the NCAA tournament. Who knows? Shout out Western Kentucky in Conference USA.
Yeah, good team.
Michigan, best team in the Big Ten by February. I like Michigan a lot. I don't think they're the best team in the Big Ten, though.
I mean, I could see this happening for sure.
Yeah, I could see it too.
So what do you think about Wolf? And
oh, here we go. This is good. Xavier wins the NIT. Xavier wins the Big East. We are both firmly.
I had to throw my take in there.
I like that one. I like that one. That Xavier team's good. I'd be a little higher on them if Traore wasn't hurt.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair.
Just only a couple minutes left with you, TJ.
Yeah.
Santa Clara makes the tournament. TJ, do you have any thoughts on Santa Clara?
I like Adama Ball, but yeah, I think they're a really good team. I got to look more into them. I haven't really given them a fair look yet. Who else is starting on their team?
Carlos Stewart's back. Johnny O'Neal. They've got a good roster.
Is Tilly still there?
Yeah, Tilly's still there.
Okay, yeah.
You know what? I'll save it. We're gonna talk about these games later.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. Jeremy Fears wins Big Ten Player of the Year. That is scorching. But I'm gonna say, I thought about it. I don't think it's gonna happen. I wouldn't put any money on it, but I see a world where Jeremy Fears is really, really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he can be good, but winning Big Ten Player of the Year, that's a ridiculous thing.
And here's
I
the
mean,
thing.
that's a
Like,
wide open award.
Here's the thing, though. I think Jeremy Fears could be really, really good. Maybe not like this level, but like a first-team all-conference guy. And I could still see Michigan State being like the 8th best team in the conference because the guards have not been the problem.
Here we go. Next up, Scott Drew is Texas's head coach by April 15th.
So
this is scorching.
If he didn't take Kentucky, I don't think he's taking Texas. But geographically, maybe there's something there.
I think Waco is just kind of like the place where his soul is going to like be for the rest of his life.
I would love to hear why Jason thinks that he would take Texas if he didn't take Kentucky.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Also, I will say that's not like a Texas Tech thing. He'd be moving conferences. So.
This one's scorching too. Charleston finishes below 250 in KenPom. I don't see this happening unless like Darren Boyd's injury was contagious and the whole team now has a torn ACL.
Can we put next to this? Charleston finishes below 250 in KenPom, comma, Chris Mack is working for the field of 68 again next year. Because if they finished below 250 in KenPom, that would probably have to happen.
It should. Just anything more because we're running out of time. UConn wins their Big East opener. UConn has won more national championships than Big East openers since 2003.
That's amazing.
All right.
Quick take or quick question before you. Do you guys know why the slate tomorrow is so like bad?
I mean, it's monumentally better than last year.
Yeah, but like why don't we open the season with like better games? I feel like that would
nobody wants to play. Nobody wants to play against like great teams on night one if they don't have to.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But,
I also think that there should be, real quick before we let you go, I also think that there should be a threshold, maybe something with like conference threshold, where like if you play above a certain conference level, you shouldn't be able to schedule a non-D1.
Yeah. No, that's a good take right there.
All right. Thank you, TJ, so much for joining us tonight.
Thanks for having me.
And we will see you later this season.
Yep.
Anything else to say?
Northwestern's going to win the Big Ten. USC's going to win, or USC's going to get second.
All right. He's gone. Now we have the man himself, the man who finds the 9-foot gremlins in the Pacific Ocean. We got PDT. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Can you hear me? The mic's working?
Yeah, the mic is a little bit loud.
Oh, that's not good. One sec. Is it like really loud? Like,
it's loud, but I think we should be good.
Yeah, we should.
Okay, I got you. Yeah, no, I'm blessed to be here. Appreciate you guys for giving us a chance to, before the season starts, to talk some hoops.
Yeah, I mean, what else? What's better than sitting here talking about college basketball?
Nothing. No.
So real quick before Sam gets into his whole spiel, the reason that we have PDT on the night before the season is because we're going to find some gems here. We're going to find some breakout guys, some underrated freshmen, some guys that'll pop off this year in college basketball. Because PDT, if there is a good basketball player that is going to be playing college basketball somewhere, PDT knows about him.
Also, if there's a bad basketball player that's going to be playing college basketball somewhere, PDT knows about him.
Yeah.
How much time do you spend just like watching basketball?
Probably I would say, so I'm in school right now, so usually whenever my classes aren't, like, I'm not doing class, I'd probably be doing basketball outside of just like my friends hit me up and say they want to, do something. It's usually just basketball pretty much for me, which is I love doing it, so I'm not complaining,
Yeah, I mean, it's the greatest sport ever. College basketball is awesome.
No question.
So first thing that we want to get into is just some mid-major freshmen to watch. Just like, we're going to go deeper into this a little later, but just like 3 guys that not enough people know about right now in mid-major basketball that they will know by the end of the week, really.
It can classify as low major too? Like mid major, low major?
Look, mostly just like anything below like the A10.
Okay. No A10, no A10.
No
right?
A10, no Mountain West.
Like anything
no
below
WCC.
that like top mid-major level, like the Mountain West, the A10s of the world, stuff like that.
Okay. Yeah, we can work with that. All right, I'll start with my first one. In the Summit League, I really like him. Timo Strinky. It's a really hard name to pronounce. It's actually harder because they call him Timu, but he's from Denver University. It was it was like a summer pickup. It wasn't a late pickup, but he's 6'9", long, really athletic, 7'1" wingspan. He can handle the ball. He can play multiple positions, not point guard, but shooting guard through the 4. He's really skilled. He averaged I think 18 a game this summer for Poland, and so and 4.2 assists. So he's like a multi-positional guy that I think, looking at Denver's roster, they're not that talented. So, for a freshman like that, I think he can provide them instant offense. And I think the Summit League is also really good for those kind of a little bit more athletic kind of wings, to really flourish. So I think he's going to be really good. So he's the first one. I really like him. Again, I think there's a lot of international kids coming over to college basketball. So the second one, I'm really good at it. So the second one I'm actually going to list is international, but he's a kid who was kind of under recruited because he played for NBA Academy, but wasn't that productive. It's Gabriel Posado from Evansville. I knew Jonathan was going to be. He's a freak athlete, just super fun to watch. Super confident. I think that's a good thing for a freshman to be confident. The coaches at Evansville are telling me not to talk too much about him because they want to keep him a secret. But I mean, tomorrow they play Tuesday, so he's not going to really be a secret anymore. But he's going to be. I think he's going to be a guy that I feel like the country is going to know a lot about him. And I'm going to not do. I'm going to go to not try to go international again because that's like 2 out of the 2 kids. I just got to look at the the rosters real quick. Just I can't really think on top. I wasn't expecting that to be the first question. Truthfully.
All right.
Yeah, that's all good. No, I'm just trying to think who's really because I know I would say like a crap ton out of the A10, but Missouri Valley counted, right?
Yeah,
they count.
Yes, in the Valley.
Okay, Valley counts. I might go. I might go another Valley pick. I just got to make sure, because I know Jonathan does a lot of Valley. Yeah, I'm actually gonna go Valley again, if that's okay with you guys.
Yeah, go ahead.
I really like Carlos Harris from UIC. Like really filthy scorer. Confident, electric. I looked at the roster. I like Ahmad Henderson. He's definitely undersized. I know Sam watched him a lot at Niagara, but I think Carlos isn't a true point guard, but he's skilled enough. I think he's just a little twitchier than Ahmad. So I think he can play 20 minutes a game. And then another one would be just to throw one up, Martin Somerville. He's at UMass Lowell, I think.
Yeah, I was about to start listing off some guys that I have. Martin Somerville's on my list.
That's good. Yeah, no, I really like him. I think, and then UMass Lowell is guard heavy, so it makes sense for him to really flourish there. So those are my 4.
They do have a bunch of guards, but if Caleb Murphy, there's rumors out there that he's not going to play until January. If Caleb Murphy's not ready, Yuri Covington is more of a 2. And you look, that's a roster. Those the 3 guys, Brooks, Mincy, and Morris. Those are the Clark. I always say Morris. It's Clark. Clark, Brooks, and Mincy. The 3 guys on that roster that are going to be studs offensively. Right. Somerville could step in as a guard and make an impact as well because they're going to need something because Ayinde Hakeem brought so much to that team last year.
Yeah. No, I feel bad for Caleb, though. I think he's been dealing with injuries his whole career, So
yeah. The next guy that I had on my list was Jaden Johnson at Old Dominion. What do you think about him?
I think I'd say this: I'm not in love with Old Dominion's roster. I think they have a coach who knows how to recruit, which is a good positive, especially in the DMV. So I think Jaden's definitely a guy. I've watched him twice. I think he plays in a military academy school. I don't know what's it called, but
I looked at a lot of the military academy stats and film because those guys tend to be really good as freshmen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I think I'm not sure if it's a post grad or not. But I do have watched him before. He's really solid. He played with another kid who's playing at D1 at IU Indy. I don't know the name change now, but yeah, I think he's solid to play minutes. I'm not sure how much Old Dominion's going to rely on freshmen. I do think the roster can use some more scoring guards. I think I don't know if Emo Decision is fully healthy, but I do think if Jaden's, he's skilled enough to get some minutes off the bat, in my opinion.
And you're talking about Deshaun Good, right?
Yeah, he's at IU.
Yeah, that I have him on my list too. I like him.
Yeah, he should be good.
And then the other Horizon League guy I have on my list, and we've mentioned this guy before on the podcast, when it's Jeremiah Johnson at Green Bay. This guy's just too good to be playing in the Horizon League. PDT, what do you think about him?
I really like Jeremiah. I think I was hearing his name a lot. I already knew about him, of course, but I was hearing because he was rumored to go to Florida, and I was helping a kid who was going to go to Florida at the time, so I wasn't sure if they were going to go for Jeremiah or the kid I was helping. But yeah, I've seen Jeremiah before. Really talented. He could probably play at the high major level, but I'm not sure how much minutes. But at Green Bay with under Doug, he's not going to be the guy because the guy for that team is Anthony Roy, but he's going to be skilled enough to at least average 13 a game, 3 assists. They also have a backup point guard for them who's also was pretty not crazy skilled, but he's a really good passer from Australia. I think you guys might like him. I was actually going to forget. Can I change my pick from I like Somerville, but Detroit has a freshman from Michigan. I've watched a few times live. I think he's going to be really good. Nate Johnson. I really like him. He's from Detroit, and he's playing at Detroit. And Detroit's not a great team, so he might be a freshman that's going to be a starter for them.
I actually like what Montgomery is kind of trying to do there at Detroit, just trying to totally buy in to be that grit Detroit identity.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it doesn't really work in a lot of places, but the fact that it's just a city that has guys that will go to war.
Right.
I think. Obviously, PDT, you're a Michigan guy, so you're very familiar with the Detroit landscape. I'm not sure there's enough talent to be a terrific Horizon League team year in, year out. But if they just dominate the recruiting in Detroit, they will be a really tough team to play against every year.
For sure, yeah.
And you mentioned it with Green Bay. I mean, Anthony Roy was an NAIA All-American at Langston under head coach Chris Wright, who is a stud himself. They also have Foster Wonders back, who's really good. And they brought in Isaiah Miranda. That Green Bay team is one of the most talented teams in that league.
We'll get to see him in action against Oklahoma State tomorrow night.
We will talk about that later tonight after Jack comes on. Jonathan, you got to ask about your favorite freshman, right?
Yeah.
My favorite freshman, Isaiah Pasha.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Isaiah Pasha, I'm sure PDT knows him because he knows everyone. But guy at Delaware, I think he's going to play a lot there. It's a guy who he just wowed me every single time that I would watch him. He was at St. Thomas More with some other good players in the NEPSAC, and just thought with Betsy on the ball and the kid who just committed to Alabama that I'm blanking on his name right now. He's a senior now. But what'd you say?
London Jemison.
Yes. With those two, I thought he was a really good connective piece that played really hard, pretty skilled. So I think that he's a guy. Am I off here? PDT, is he a guy that can kind of maybe win freshman of the year in the CAA?
It's possible. I think. Well, the CA is not. It's not the. I think the freshman class. I'm not sure. I forgot how strong it was last year, but I wouldn't say it's typically. I think it's an average freshman class. Delaware ahead of him. Who's going to play ahead of him? I think I would say for sure Eric Tamiko from Division II. He was a D2 All-American. Actually as a freshman, he's pretty much put the same numbers all 4 years. So now he's a grad. He's going to probably be the starting shooting guard. So they play similar positions. But again, you can see freshman guards who kind of come in, roll off the bench, carve one out, and still produce freshman year numbers. So I think he could. I've watched him twice. I think he's a talent. There's other freshmen I like in that conference. It just depends. Some of the guys that I think I like a lot are in teams that I don't really see how they can play too much, like Charleston, for example. That team's too loaded for freshmen to really get enough usage to break out. So, but I think it's a solid pick.
Yeah, I mean, Pasha's good. Timko, you mentioned, really good player. I watched a little bit of Jefferson over the offseason because of Timko, because of Bismarck and Saya and Ahmad Barba Bay, who are going to FDU. Timko's a beast. He was really good for a few years there. He's probably going to be he might be that team's top scorer. Kevin Riley's pretty solid too. So yeah, there's a bunch of guards that can score there, but Pasha can be a stud. I think he'll be really good. I also like Josh Reed at Drexel. I think he'll come in and contribute. That's a team that really needs any sort of juice, especially with Garfield Turner out for the season. Obviously, completely different positions.
Right.
Do you think Josh Reed comes in and makes a big impact? And how do you think Ralph Akuda is going to fill in for Garfield Turner?
Oh, that's two good questions. Yeah. So first off, I think Reed's going to play. I think, like you mentioned, Drexel's rosters it's not great, and some of their point guards right now, I think the two kids out of JUCO, one I already watched in Michigan, Jason Drake, he played in Ferndale. I watched him a few times. I'm not saying he's a bad player. I just didn't think he was good enough to play Division I. He didn't play that well. He didn't play at all at D1. He went down to Butler Community College, was solid, but still doesn't really strike me as a D1 starter. And so I think Reed has at least more pop on film to kind of emerge as that kind of at least a backup, or even a starter, because they have another kid, Keon Vanderhorst. Not a great scorer, but he's a great athlete. I think he can, he's a 40+ inch vertical. He's a great athlete. You're not gonna really see him on the court just because for some whatever reason he's one of those type of kids where he's vertically explosive but not explosive like off a crossover or anything. So I don't know. I think he can definitely emerge into a guy. And then Ralph's kind of in the mold of, there's a lot of freshmen kind of similar to him coming into college basketball this year, like those 7-footers that are really just raw. Like you need to have all the size and positional need, but just really raw for him to be a legit guy. I think there's a team in the MAC that has a kid similar. I can't if I'm blanking on the name though. Like I'm just trying to think who that is. Oh, Spencer Wee from Quinnipiac. I think they're both kind of similar.
He's just huge. Then I had a couple other guys on my list from the A-Sun. I know you like Stefano Alesso. What do you think about the guys at EKU? Jaden Harris.
I would have totally said Jamie Phillips. I totally forgot the A-Sun. I like Jamie Phillips. What would you say?
I asked about the guys at EKU, Micah Davis and Jaden Harris. Probably not a lot of minutes going around there, but those guys can definitely play.
Yeah, I think out of both of those, I really like Micah. I think he's honestly, if he was in a different team, he could have been a starter. Like if he was at a smaller level kind of squad. In Eastern Kentucky is not the highest level, but it's a really talented team. They have two guards ahead of him that I just don't see him overtaking. So I mean, maybe with Jordan Crawford, but Jordan Crawford is really talented. So, but I like Micah. He's a score first guard from Indiana. Really skilled, athletic, lefty. I like his game. And then Jaden Harris is also lefty, but a little bit less skilled, but he's got a really nice frame. So I can feel like he can get some minutes too. But I like that freshman crew.
Moving on to, we have a bunch of names from the Ivy League. Jonathan, I know you like a couple of them.
Yeah, I'll start here with the Ivy League with Jack Stanton, guy from Illinois, played at Downers Grove North, won a ton of games as a junior and a senior. I think multiple sectional titles in Illinois. Definitely got downstate at least once at 4A. But yeah, he's a guy that really good on ball. I don't know if he'll be quite what Princeton wants, like defensively right away, but certainly a guy that can knock down shots, can get to the rim, plays hard on both ends. Have you watched him at all, and what kind of impact do you think he can make for Princeton this year and even down the road.
Yeah, I watched him when he was at playing for UA in the Under Armour circuit. I forgot what team he was.
It was
at.
Breakaway.
Breakaway, yeah, he played with the kid Kincaid, who's at William and Mary.
Yeah.
He's a really good shooter. Like Jack can really score. Not like not shifty as Xavier, of course, but he scores in different kind of ways. You can run through ball screens or any fashion, but he can really shoot, catch and shoot off the dribble. He can do a lot of that. I think he can pass as well. Like I said, maybe defensively is the hurdle he's got to face. He can play defensive, like he can definitely defend. So he just needs the adjustment to Division I will be what I would say he needs to get adjusted to.
Gotcha. Sam is going to run to get something real quick, but we'll continue with some of the Ivy League kids here. Princeton has another freshman who
Malik
has been some very good things have been said about him. Malik Abdullahi, is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, I'm not great with names, but I think so. Okay. But yeah, he's played with, I think everyone in the country's probably seen him play because he's played with the Boozer twins. Yeah. And, also you have him playing high levels EYBL. So people have seen him. He's just a freak athlete. That's the best thing you can say about him. Freak athlete. I would say I wish his motor was a little bit higher for how athletic he is. He could be an elite defender. He's not pushing himself to the next level, and he's not a great shooter. So there's going to be some limitations for him. But as long as he's, using his athleticism and playing as high as he can, intensity wise, I don't see why Princeton doesn't play him at least 10, 15, 20 minutes a game. He's got that ability. Yeah,
Princeton did a really good job a couple of years ago turning a guy with a similar body type in Tosan into like an NBA player. So
yeah,
it's probably a pretty good fit for him as a multi-year guy there. And then I'll move on to some other guys in the Ivy League. Obviously, Harvard has a borderline like top 100 freshman coming in Robert Hinton. Yeah. Tell me about Hinton. What is so special about Hinton, and how did Tommy Amaker land a top 100 guy? Because they have another kid.
Yeah, another year
too. So
yeah, I would say it's truthfully. I think I'm not going to say it like so. Our Ivy League kids aren't technically scholarships, so they don't get NIL. So it's a downside for some kids to just look into that and say, I'm not getting paid this year. That's going to suck. But I do think the upside for Harvard's sales pitch is you can run with what you had last year with Malik Mack. And so Malik, 17 a game, start every single game. I'm not going to say how much he got paid at Georgetown, but it's a lot of money for a kid to have. So you look at Rob, for example, who's I'm not saying he's as explosive or as electric as Malik, but he's going to score. Like he's going to score a lot of points. I don't know if this is the best comp, but Sam's watched Judah Mintz so much time, so I feel like the way Rob moves is a little bit Judah-y. So I think he's going to be really good. So we'll see what he can do.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
If you do that at like 6'5" in the Ivy League, like that's not going to be stopped.
Yeah.
And then the last Ivy kid that I want to ask about, I wrote an article back in, I think it was June, just like putting out 3 like mid-major freshmen from like the Chicagoland area that I think could have, a good year one or just have a really good college career that maybe were a little under-recruited. And I kind of think that's what Columbia got with Gianni Cobb. He's a guy who won a lot of games, played on a state championship team this past year at home with Flossmoor. Small, so that's probably goes into why he's at Columbia, not a better school than Columbia, but he's really shifty. He's great in the open floor. Can he make an impact year one at Columbia here?
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, you said it, shifty, really, really, really fun score. Play with high major players, teammates. Bryce Hurd was there last year with them. I think he can play. Columbia, I'm not sure how much they let their freshmen really go. But I mean, I know he has players ahead of him, but I mean, he's also, I would say, like you said, the most shifty and most explosive player on that team. So I'm in for like at least, I think he's gonna be good. We'll see. Who they play tomorrow? Yeah.
What I know about Columbia, like I don't think they have a ton of trouble. Like I don't think Avery Brown has a ton of trouble like getting into the lane. I think he kind of has trouble just like kind of figuring out what to do.
Yeah.
And Avery Brown's pretty good. He's maybe not one of the best point guards in the Ivy League, but he's a solid point guard. He's a solid Ivy League point guard. GRDLR, Geronimo Rubio de la Rosa, is a stud. That guy can be all Ivy first team in my mind. But like Johnny Cobb could come in and like just give them some wiggle like off the bench, like just a guy that can come in and score, can come in and get to the basket and just finish around the basket with some finesse. They need Richard Nweke to be good. That's he was a freshman last year, missed the entire season. He was hurt. I think they need him to be good and healthy for sure.
I'll say they also need some more. I'm not saying he didn't play that much, but he's also, I think, higher upside kid for them. Arap. He was there last year.
Yeah.
Like he moves like a guard at 6'11", which is nice, but he's just really not that physical. Like,
and there's one more Ivy name that I wanted to get to with you. Mateen Rafiq at Cornell.
Yeah. He's a really great scorer. He's kind of like, there's like two players in the Ivy League. Actually, they're like both exactly the same height. They're similar. Him, and then Connor Rasmussen. Like I said, I'm terrible names. No, Connor Rasmussen. Emerson. Okay, I don't have the sheet inside my head, so I forgot how his last name was spelled. But yeah, they're both really similar. Him and Mateen. They're 5'11", 6 foot smaller guards who score. Like pretty much, yeah, they can really score. Like really, just fun to watch. So I don't know how much they're gonna play immediately, but those are like two similar molds that I think you guys probably already know.
If Amundsen scores, Dartmouth is going to play him.
Yeah, I think they need him too, and because it's not a good roster. Respectfully.
Yeah, I mean, I picked them last, like, pretty convincingly. Let's move on to another league, just kind of to throw out there right now.
Yeah.
The Patriot League had a lot of freshmen last year. There's still some freshmen coming in this year. I love what Holy Cross has in Tyler Boston and Max Green. Just quickly touch on those guys.
Yeah, so Boston played with pretty much every single 4 or 5 star in the 2025 class with Eric Rabi, my bad. And then you have you just a lot of talent with him, not Max but Tyler. And Tyler's 5'10", skilled, crafty, virtually going to be one of the most exciting players in the Patriot League because there's not a lot of guys like him in the Patriot League, which is good. And then Max probably could have played like Western Kentucky, truthfully. Like he's from Kentucky, one of the best players in Kentucky, but he chose to go a kind of smaller path. So I don't see how he's not starting. I mean, I think you sent me a box score and he started, right?
Yeah, he started for them.
Yeah, that's what I thought. He's going to start for them. He's really good. I like him a lot. 3 levels, not 3 levels. He can't really get to the rim like that, but really can shoot the ball. So I'm excited for him.
Yeah, I just wanted to kind of talk about Holy Cross's freshman class. I also like, I think Lafayette's is interesting with Caleb Williams and Alex Chaikin. And Colgate might need some contributions from their freshmen too. But I also want to just move on and get to another conference. Jonathan, do you have a conference to talk about?
Real quick, a Patriot League guy I have written down is Jaden Williams at Bucknell. We can, to get to another league. I'm glad you mentioned Western Kentucky because Western Kentucky has a freshman that I am in love with and think he's going to be a high impact guy even in Conference USA, and that's Julius Thedford. Tell me about his game.
Ooh, I thought you were gonna say Kate Unseld, but I mean both of them are solid. I watched both of them. Kate was one of the top 3 or top 5 scorers in Kentucky. Julius Thedford, I watched him not as much as I did with Kate, but I am familiar with him. He's really solid. He's from Tennessee. He's a really good scorer. They're both kind of in the mold of scorers, but Julius is more explosive, really explosive. I think he averaged 27, 28 games as a senior. But he played with Mo Khan, I believe, during he was a junior. So he's not going to be a guy I'm expecting to come in and dominate the league as a freshman, but he's going to be a spark plug off that bench, and with his athleticism, he can definitely play some meaningful minutes. So I'm excited to see. Honestly, I think the conference you say is a pretty fun conference. Truthfully, it's a good conference.
It's gonna be good.
Mm-hmm.
Jonathan, any other freshmen in Conference USA that you want to get into?
Utah State has a great freshman class, by the way.
Who has a good one?
Kennesaw State.
Kennesaw.
I'm terrible names. Just throwing that shit out there.
No names, straight ball.
Yeah.
I don't think I have anyone else in CUSA.
What do you like about that Kennesaw State class?
All right, so there's like two names I really like a lot. Jamil Miller, he played Combine Academy postgrad, 6'7", strong body, physical. He has a motor, and he can really score off the dribble, which is going to be at 6'7" in that conference. You say that's going to get him minutes, but also Braden Liu. Braden Liu is really good. He's athletic, lefty, a little post game. He has a lot of skill set at 6'8". Not a great shooter, but he can handle the ball a little bit. I think he's going to be good. I'm going to throw out one more name in the conference. You say two more names actually. Q House. He's a 6-foot guard from Jacksonville State. He's from Kentucky. Just imagine a 5'11" shot maker, just like can score, like just really shoot threes. He's a really electric shooter and scorer. And also AJ Bass. I'm gonna throw out the last name from Louisiana Tech. I don't know how much he's gonna play, but he's really solid. So those are my guys in the conference.
Yeah, Louisiana Tech, I think, is going to be awesome. I love Daniel Bacho. I think Caden Cooper is going to have a big year for them. I think Amari Abram is going to have a big year for them. So I like hearing that they'll have a little bit of depth, because I also I do think they will get some contributions from that freshman group for sure. Moving forward from the Conference USA. Let's talk a little bit about the SoCon. That's a league that, there's a lot of older guys in this league.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any guys that stand out to you as freshmen?
There's maybe 2 or 3 of them total. Start off with CJ Highland. He's at Western Carolina. He's good. He's shifty, he's quick, he's explosive. Western Carolina don't strike me as a team that has a lot of scoring players. You have Corey Stansberry coming from Pepperdine. He can score. His film actually looks way better than his numbers do. And then Ice Henry was just a great scorer in JUCO. But I think there's a lot of minutes and opportunity for a kid like CJ to step up and play. So I really like him. VMI is always going to be – there's got to be freshmen, right? And so this year's VMI roster is like – it's the oldest VMI roster I've seen in this new era of VMI, which is interesting. But Linus Holmstrong, and it's weird because my parents are European, but I suck with European names. But Linus is really good, really skilled. He played at he went to Colorado, I think prep over his senior year, but he's going to be a guy who plays a lot. I think they're going to have to give him some minutes. And then maybe the final guy I'll touch on in this conference is probably going to be UNC Greensboro's Sean Birmingham. He's really solid. So those are my 3.
All right. I'm just going to quickly talk about some guys in the MAC, if that's okay with you.
Yeah. Which one?
The buzz, my MAC.
Yeah, of course.
The buzz around Evan Vanderplas at Canisius is pretty sick right now. Like, that guy, apparently he's been their best player throughout the summer. He's athletic, can get to the basket, can handle the ball. So I'm excited to see what he has. I know, PDT, like, you're not like insanely familiar with him, but you've seen him.
No, I know him. He's from Netherlands. So
yeah.
Any European prospect, I'm gonna know. So here's the thing with him. I watched him last summer. He definitely didn't really shoot me as like a guy. Yeah. I wasn't really that impressed with him. So, but he's a great athlete, plays hard, but he's not that skilled. So if I maybe just needed a year of development, I think a lot of these kids from Europe don't have the best resources. So a year in college with college development and college coaching is going to change a lot for these kids. So that could be the case with Evan, which is great to hear.
Will Sidnor at Manhattan.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was just thinking, thinking about it.
This is my pick for freshman of the year in our glorious conference. I love Will Sidnor. He's been all the buzz about him is really positive too. He scores, he handles, he rebounds like there's no tomorrow. He's 6'9", he's physical.
Wow. Yeah, it was weird. It was weird because he played with Jane Glover. Jane Glover's great player. Yeah, and he was not saying he was Glover's level, but he was some games he was there. You know, he was really there.
He was on Glover's level for a lot of the season. Brandon Lee was their best player.
Yeah, he was really long, athletic, great size. I mean, he wasn't even signed until like late in the season. I was like, what is going on? Because he's super talented. Manhattan can probably like get him like Chorore minutes, honestly.
Yeah, no, he's gonna start. He's gonna start and he's gonna be a stud. Another guy that Manhattan is talking big about is Fraser Roxborough from Australia. When I talked with Gal for the preview, he compared him to Anthony Drimmich, who was an all Mountain West player like 8 years ago at Boise State. That is the level of college basketball sicko that John Gallagher is. He just pulls out the name of a random Mountain West guy from 8 years ago when he was coaching at Hartford. Just physically ready for college basketball because he played with pros in Australia and can shoot really well. Adam Jai at Iona.
Yep.
Hayes guy.
Really skilled. Yeah.
Niall Rothbyer at Sacred Heart. Philly guy, can really shoot. Absolute microwave scorer. Latina said he reminds him of a freshman Tyler Thomas. Braylon Ritvo at Quinnipiac, who I thought was a stud at Stepinac, can shoot, can defend, can put the ball on the floor. And Ty Dorsett at Merrimack from Lenape, New Jersey.
You put some good names, like listed some good names out there. I'm gonna list like two more, or maybe like one more. I don't know if there's two guys, but at least I gotta throw in Grant Randall. I'm trying to convince Sam. Like I really like Grant.
I like him too. I like him too. I just don't know. I just like Ritvo a little bit more.
Okay, that's fair. They're both.
Really I'm not sure how much room there is for minutes there.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I like Grant. He's near. Zimmerman is also a great athlete, really skilled. It's a good freshman group. I'm not really there with Wee, you know, like he's 7 foot, so he's got to play, but I'm not really.
Yeah, he'll play off the bench as like a backup 5, but
energy big, yeah, we'll see. I'm not sold on him, but other than the guys you mentioned, I'll probably just throw in maybe JoJo Wallace from I don't know if he's gonna play, but he's really good.
He'll play as long as his shots are falling.
Yeah, he can shoot, so I'm there with him. We want to talk about the other Mac now, or
go ahead. And I don't really have any names for the other Mac. I'm just trying to look through these names. Do I know any of them? Not really. Who do you like in this league?
Okay, there's one kid from Akron. I really like him, Sharon Young. He's I don't. They have a lot of good guards ahead of him, but his tape is super fun to watch. So as long as he's hitting shots, I feel like he's going to play a lot of minutes, and so he's going to be good. I think Buffalo's got probably one of the worst rosters in the country, unfortunately, because they have great facilities and everything. But they do have two guys who can step up. Ben Michaels, 6'8" from England, but he played at Long Lutheran. Can really physical, can shoot the ball. He's going to be a guy who plays, and then Tim Oboe from United Kingdom, Great Britain, England. What do you want to say? Also, two England kids because Ben's also from England. But man, Tim is like super raw. But if he ever figures it out, it can be like that great Osabor type of leap in production. Like he's gonna start for them as a true freshman, but he's also gonna foul out before 10 minutes of the game. So it's really gonna be interesting to see how he operates this season. And then I'll probably throw out, Dylan Tingler from Eastern Michigan. I was at a practice for Eastern Michigan, so I've seen how they. I mean, Stan, he's gonna. I think it's his 4th year there, and so it's like 3 losing records. So he needs a big year, and they have the talent pool to play that. So having a freshman like Tingler step up, he's going to play a lot of minutes, like 15 a game. He can handle the ball, 6'7". So he's going to be pretty good. And so, yeah, I can't really think outside my head anymore. Maybe I'm trying to think. That's about it. But it's not a bad. It's always a fun conference, but it's always experience heavy, with every year.
I want to move on from freshmen transfers. Just give me, but I also want to hear your take on like some high major guys. Most underrated high major freshmen. Just give me like 2.
Freshmen. Okay.
Yeah.
Underrated. Well, if I say like I have some like personal bias towards some players. I'm gonna try to stay from guys I like help out. But I would say, okay, here's I don't know how. Okay, fine. Summit, you two. I don't know. I was gonna say him like
The man you just held at SMU.
yeah, from Turkey, and he just needs to get cleared. That's been the hurdle for some of these guys. They just gotta get cleared first, which is the NCAA is super unpredictable. So could be tomorrow. That's why I heard it could be tomorrow. 7'2", like he's super strong, physical. Motor's a little bit not there, but I mean, if he was at Purdue, they'd be calling him Zach Edey. I'm just saying, like that's what they would be saying. He's really good. I think other underrated freshmen coming in. And there's a lot of guys. I think it's all dependent on their minutes. I really liked Isaac Uzma from Minnesota. Again, I probably pronounced that wrong, but yeah, he's a really good passer, really good playmaker. I love watching him play when he was at Minnesota, and he's committed to Minnesota. And then
Minnesota took Asuma over Freitag, which probably I think Freitag's really good. So that probably says a lot.
Yeah, it's a really great thing. I mean, they're both skilled, but I think Isaac's going to be playing. I feel like more meaningful minutes as a freshman because he's just really advanced for a freshman. And then also in the Big Ten, KJ Windham, hopefully said that right, but KJ, he's really skilled. I think he's going to play good minutes for Northwestern. Oh, he started for real?
I think.
I didn't watch.
He started in their division.
That's good. You know, he's definitely skilled. I know Purdue fans are talking about CJ Cox, who was he's really good in Middlesex Magic, and now he's playing good minutes. Purdue's always going to have those under-recruited guards who really step up. So I'm excited to see what he can do. And then I'll just throw in two more names that I think can be breakouts and play big minutes. Well, one of my guys, it's like from Europe, I like a lot. He just needs to get cleared first, but Urban Klazovar, 20-year-old skilled scoring guard. It's like Florida's got Walter Clayton and Elijah, who are just phenomenal, but they're going to be graduating next year. So I think he's the guy who's going to step up and maybe be a starter next year. He's really good. And then finally, I would say throw and just high majors, so no like Mountain West or anything like that.
I mean, you can give a Mountain West.
Yeah, you can throw out those guys too.
Okay, so how do you guys feel about Boise State right this year?
Oh, Jonathan's higher than me, but we both love Boise State.
Yeah, there's like one kid I really like. I'm not sure how much he's going to play just because he's a defensive liability, but they don't have a shooting guard. He's 6'4", so he's more of a point guard. But Julian Bowie, I really like him. I think he can step up, give him good minutes. Also, they have Carmichael, who's solid. And then I would say just one more player, but I'm excited to see him. He's grown so much, just like lost so much weight since his freshman. So he's really athletic, explosive. But he's a sorry. But James Evans from UNLV, really skilled, really athletic. I think he's going to play a lot of minutes, so we'll see.
All right. We have about 5 minutes left with you. We want to hear something about some transfers from D2, D3, NAIA, JUCO that maybe have flown under the radar. You think will make an impact at the Division I level? Just go any conference, just throw out a couple of names. Tell us who to watch out for.
Okay, we'll start with the Mountain West. Javon Buchanan, just really great. Can do a little bit of everything, handle the ball, shoot, score. He's going to be a primary player for them, I would say. Also, Big 12, you have, well, he didn't start, but Trevor Baskin's got to be up there, really skilled. He just needs to be more efficient from a three-point perspective and just be more aggressive in general. But also Elijah Malone, and I Player of the Year, he's just not going to be – he's super fun to watch. I think he's really one of the most intriguing players. So I'm glad he took that jump to go that level. He's going to be good. I think we mentioned Eric Tomiko from Delaware. He's going to be a guy who plays a lot. There's other conferences that have some guys I'm liking a lot. High Point has a kid from Canada, from U Sports, who's really good. Simon Hindlebrandt, really skilled. He committed really late, so I'm not sure how he's going to adjust and what the NCAA is going to deem his eligibility because he's got 2 more years left and he committed late. But he should be really good for them. All their U Sport guys, Malcolm Christie from Oakland, sharpshooter. He took like 12 threes a game. Not saying he's not Jack Golke's level, but he's going to be someone I feel like Campy's got to use in that role off the bench. But he's already playing that role, so I'll be interested to see him. The WCC has a few guys I like. One of them from U Sports is Elias Ralph. He could be Pacific's best player, and Pacific has Elijah Fisher and guys like that. So I'm not saying that like it's a high bar, but I mean he's really skilled, and I think he's going to play a lot of meaningful minutes for them. San Diego has a D2 guy. Who's an elite shooter, Cody Clout. Hope I'm not pronouncing that wrong. He can really shoot the ball. They're going to need shooting, so I think he's going to be a guy who's going to play a lot. In the South End, you have guys from Division II. I mean, Sam's going to probably know who I'm going to say right now, but Jordan Pike from Incarnate World, really skilled. So yeah, there's a lot of guys. There's probably, there's another one is Travis Harper from Tennessee State. There's a lot of. I think Division II, NIA, U Sports move ups. It's probably the most ever out of a whole range. And then one more Mac, but Justice Schultz. We were joking because his head coach called him Kyrie. So
yeah, I like Justice Schultz a lot.
Yeah, really good.
All right, PDT. Just anything else you want to say before you head out? Just I'll give you the floor for a minute or two to just like anything about basketball or not about basketball. It doesn't have to be. Yeah,
it's just probably expect like 40 videos tomorrow for me. Just I'm gonna be doing that all day.
Let's
but definitely expect the Justice Schultz mix. That's coming. It's Siena,
Siena against Brown tomorrow. We're not going to be talking about that when we preview the games. But what are some games that you're most looking forward to tomorrow?
There's a lot. Like again, a lot of people are gonna go for the high major games. I'm actually really interested to watch Baylor and Gonzaga. That should be a good game because it's 11:30 and there's no other games. But just to throw, I know time's clicking, but to throw some games off the top of my head, I'm really excited to see Monmouth play against Michigan State. See what Jared Monmouth. I see names, but
I like Aaron Demick too at Monmouth.
Yeah, we'll see. I think that's a good group. Bashir is really great shooter. I'm excited to see that. Toledo versus Troy. That's a great mid-major matchup. St. Bonaventure. Very curious to see what they look like. I didn't watch their exhibition full extent, but they did look pretty rough from shooting perspective. You have other games that I'm really interested to see more of. I want to see what Indiana State looks like against FAU. That could be a pretty intriguing game, just depending on Indiana State, how they look. I really want to see North Dakota versus Colorado State, see what Eagle Staff's looking like this year. That could be a great game. You have other ones like high major matchups that could be good. Florida, South Florida should be a really good game. And then there's just a few more I'm going to touch on. Oklahoma State, Green Bay, talked about, should be a pretty intriguing game to see. Yeah, and then the last game I'll probably say, USC Chattanooga. That's my game. I'm really excited for Chattanooga. Really good, so I'm excited for that one. But
you're a huge Frank Champion guy.
I love Frank Champion. Like that, I'm telling you, he's like Momobo, really similar. So I'm excited. And then on Tuesday, just to throw out Evansville, North Texas. That's the game of the day. So we'll see.
The game of the day on Tuesday. Well, we have a podcast tomorrow night. We have a podcast Tuesday night, where we will be talking about the basketball games on Tuesday night.
Most important thing. Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on, PDT. We really appreciate it. And thank you for all the time.
For sure. I appreciate you guys for having me. Enjoy tomorrow. So.
Oh, we will. Merry Christmas.
Yeah. See you guys. All right. It was good talking with you.
All right. So we are going to take a hard turn right now from talking about mid-major freshmen in men's college basketball to talking about women's college basketball. We don't do this often enough on the show, really. It's mostly a men's college basketball podcast, but we do have Jack Church coming in to help us kind of dissect what we don't really know about women's basketball, what we do know about the women's basketball season this year. Jack, how you doing on Christmas Eve?
I am doing absolutely phenomenal. Thank you so much for having me on. Just got off covering the Lady Vols soccer team 1-0 win over Kentucky in the SEC tournament. So that's what I was up to a little earlier.
All right. So just obviously South Carolina, the reigning national champion, they were best team in the country all year last year. They are probably going to be the best team in the country again this year. Would you agree with that?
I don't know if I necessarily agree with that because Camila Cardoso was such an intricate part of what South Carolina was doing. And this year, South Carolina is going to have to rotate so many bigs through their system. I mean, Ashlyn Watkins is going to be asked to sort of replicate Cardoso's play as much as possible, but she's not as tall as Camila Cardoso was. And that's why Cardoso had such an advantage over other players. So I think there's a lot of holes in the South Carolina team. I certainly don't expect them to go undefeated again, especially when the SEC's gotten tougher. They draw Texas as their double opponent this year. They have to play UConn. They have to go to Pauley Pavilion to play UCLA. There's a lot of tough games on this South Carolina schedule.
I mean, they bring back so much in that backcourt too. Pow Pow is back, Raven Johnson, Full Wiley, and Ashlyn Watkins. They bring back a lot of players to this roster that were huge contributors and that we can expect to take a step up. So, and they have the best coaching, and they have the best coach in men's or women's college basketball in Dawn Staley.
Absolutely, and that's sort of what makes South Carolina. That's what makes South Carolina so good. She's able to see things in the game that you wouldn't. I mean, I was in Greenville when she told Camila Cardoso to take the second ever 3-point attempt of her career, and it worked out because she's Dawn Staley. That's what it does. When Dawn talked Tahina Pow Pow into coming back for a 5th year to use her COVID year, it worked because she's the best. So, and that's certainly something to take a look at. Dawn Staley has all the national champions, probably would have another one if that 2020 tournament happened, which it didn't. I still think it's funny. You go to Colonial Life Arena and you see the banner for AP #1 in there. But I digress. So it's just, yes, the South Carolina team is so good, but every other team in the top at least 7 or 8 has gotten better as well.
Yeah, the SEC is going to be awesome this year in women's college basketball. Texas is going to be awesome. Rory Harmon is back. LSU, I mean, they don't have they lose Angel Reese, they lose Haley Van Lith, they lose a lot, but they bring back Anissa Morrow, Michaela Williams, Flau'jae Johnson, and they have enough there to be really good once again, without a doubt. Oklahoma gets Reagan Beers.
Yeah,
I mean, was that for you? What was the most impactful transfer in women's college basketball? Give me like the top 3.
I think the top 2, certainly, Reagan Beers was one of them. Going to an Oklahoma team that already had a lot of talent on it, but didn't really have that sort of star power to get to the next level. That was sort of the challenge for them in the tournament. That's why they didn't make it to the second weekend. I think the most impactful transfer goes to Kiki Uriafen going to USC. Coming from a Stanford team that was really good last year with Cameron Brink, but is certainly going to take a step back this year with Tara Vanderveer retiring, another one of the great coaches in our game. So I think Uriafen pairing up with Juju Watkins is going to be a very strong team for USC, and that's why USC was even getting some #1 votes from certain polls. And then I think Georgia Amore going to Kentucky alongside head coach Kenny Brooks. I don't know how much Amore is going to be able to. I don't know if she's going to have that same power that she did without having Liz Kitley clogging up the whole front court, but Amore is certainly a player who can be the main star of a team.
She's a superstar.
And she's absolutely a superstar coming from Australia, having everything that comes with her in terms of how she plays as well. So I think Kentucky's another. We talked about how good the SEC is going to be. Kentucky is a team that made it, was, I believe, 12th or 13th in the SEC last year, and this year they're in the preseason AP poll.
Yeah, and then you look at, I mean, the SEC's also got Vanderbilt with Shea Ralph, who has that program on the upswing. Tennessee, who you are very, very familiar with. They're going to play 100 million people this year with Kim Caldwell, who I think is going to kill it at Tennessee because winners win.
Yeah, the interesting thing about Tennessee, you mentioned playing 1 million people. They had 13 active players in the exhibition against Carson Newman. And not only did all 13 play in the game, all 13 played in the first quarter. Kim Caldwell is going to rotate. She's going to rotate often. I counted 122 substitutions in the game. And it was basically like hockey line changes every 2 minutes, because with her system, you're pressing basically every possession. You're running every time up and down the floor. You basically can't play for more than 2 or 3 minutes, or else you're going to be completely gassed. And that's something she mentioned. She was talking about it. She said, if after 90 seconds you're not when I take you out, you're not completely tired, you're not playing the right way. So that substitution system is built on necessity more than anything. And they play a really exciting style of basketball. I know it's Carson Newman, which is a Division II school, but they forced 43 turnovers in their exhibition on Thursday and scored 135 points. And that's just something you didn't see from the Kelly Harper era with the Lady Vols.
The SEC is going to be the best conference in women's college basketball, but the Big Ten is going to take a step back. You lose Caitlin Clark, trans-generational player, not just generational player, just a player that is transcendent across the last 7 generations, 100 generations. You could go 100 generations back. There's never been a women's college basketball player better than Caitlin Clark. And you lose Mackenzie Holmes, you lose J.C. Sheldon. So the Big Ten is going to take a step back. I still think Iowa's going to be good, though. They don't lose like a ton other than Clark and Kate Martin. And they bring in Lucy Olson. They get sophomore jump from Hannah Stolke, Sydney Falter taking another step forward. I think they will kind of sneak up on people, even without Lisa Bluter. Jan Jensen was Lisa Bluter's right-hand woman for the last 25 years. And she was obviously not the brains behind the operation, but those two were some really good brain power.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when you look at this Iowa team, it's basically Hannah Stolke's team now. She definitely played a major part on that Iowa team. I remember there was she scored like 47 points.
Yeah, against Penn State.
And everyone was going crazy because they said only Caitlin Clark could score 47. No, Hannah Stolke is that good. And I mean, we saw the way Kate Martin was utilized in that offense. Sydney Affolter, a very important part of Iowa's team. And then Lucy Olson, who's going to bring certainly not the level of three-point shooting that Caitlin Clark had, but Olson can definitely successfully run an offense as she did at Villanova. So that'll be very interesting to watch.
All right. The top 2 teams in the Big Ten, I think according to most people, UCLA and USC. Where do you stand on that argument? Who do you think is the best team in the Big Ten?
I think USC is the best team in the Big Ten. I think with Juju Watkins, who, if not for Caitlin Clark, would be the transcendent player in women's college basketball last year, and you bring in Kiki Iriafen alongside the rest of that very good team, I think USC is the best team in the Big Ten. But those 2 USC-UCLA games will be 2 of the best games of the women's season, just because of how absolutely stacked both of those 2 teams are.
I think I'm not all the way sold on USC, as crazy as that sounds. Like, I think Forbes and Padilla were so big for what they did last year. And obviously Iriafen and Talia from Oregon State, like great players themselves. But like UCLA, USC struggled to stop Lauren Betts last year. They're going to struggle to stop Lauren Betts again this year. Gabriella Hawkins is back. Kiki Rice. UCLA is going to be really good. And I think that both of those teams could be top 5-ish teams in the country. No doubt in my mind.
Oh, absolutely. And that's sort of the struggle when picking between them, is that both of them have so much talent. And when you look at honestly, I'd put USC and UCLA, that pairing of teams, against basically any 2 pairings by any conference, and that includes South Carolina and Texas. I think those 2 teams are that good.
Moving on to the ACC, Notre Dame gets Hannah Hidalgo back, and that's obviously the big thought with them. Hannah Hidalgo might be one of the best players in the country. Well, she is one of the best players in the country. She could be the best player in the country now that is vacant without mean, like you look at best players in the country. I mean, Juju Watkins, Hannah Hidalgo, Paige Beckers, like all those guys, all those players up there could kind of take that mantle. But Notre Dame with Niall Ivey, still kind of definitely in the shadow of Muffet McGraw, but improving every year since she got there. And I think this has a chance to be her best season as the head coach at Notre Dame.
It absolutely does. But I think a lot of the question around Niall Ivey and this Notre Dame program is if they can take that next step in the postseason. And last season, they made it to the Sweet 16, lost to a very good Oregon State team with Van Olhoffen, with
Reagan
Beers, thank you. But it's just the case of now in Hannah Hidalgo's sophomore season, can she take that next step and be the best player in the country? This race for the best player in the country revolves around this sophomore class. You have Juju Watkins, you have Hannah Hidalgo, and you have Madison Booker at Texas. And those are...
hold on. You're forgetting somebody.
No, well, I'm saying in terms of the sophomore class.
Okay. You said the race for the best player in the country revolves around the sophomore class.
I understand I understand who Paige Beckers is.
We're getting to UConn after we talk about the ACC.
Right. But for this Notre Dame team to make the Final Four, Hannah Hidalgo has to be the best of those three sophomore players, I think.
All right. In the ACC, also NC State. I think Duke can be really good. I think they're extremely well coached. They are really athletic. They have so many players that just can go out there and really just get stops. They press. They press really well. Stanford will definitely take a step back in year one of Kate May. But I think Kate Pay, sorry. I'm on Patriots time right now. But I think Stanford will still be really good. I think Kate Pay is going to do a good job there. Do you have any other thoughts on the ACC?
With the ACC, I think I'm interested to see how Virginia Tech looks with Megan Duffy. I think this first season is going to be a bit of a struggle, obviously, but I think Virginia Tech's a team that you can look at in 2 or 3 years, especially with Duffy's success at Marquette, which is certainly not historically one of the women's basketball programs that you focus on, that Duffy can certainly build that back to where Kenny Brooks had it. Again, not in that first year with how much talent they lost, losing Kitley to the WNBA draft, losing Georgia Amore to Kentucky, but Virginia Tech's certainly a program to sort of keep an eye on this year.
All right. Moving on from that to the UConn Huskies, who, like, the Big East is it's not what it is in men's basketball and women's basketball. It just really isn't. There's only 2 teams in Torvik's top 60. There are 5 teams outside the top 100. And then there's UConn, who is the number 2 team in college basketball, according to Torvik. You have Paige Beckers. You have Caitlin Chen, the transfer from Princeton. You have a lot of the players back from last year. It's really the only player that you're losing, Aaliyah Edwards. You get AZ Fudd back from injury. Caroline Ducharme back from injury. Ayanna Patterson back from injury. You get Aubrey Griffin back from injury. Janelle Alfie back from injury. I could go on and on and on. You get KK Arnold for another year, Ashlyn Shade. And then you have Sarah Strong, the number 1 recruit in the country, this UConn team. And then Gino Auriemma, who is the greatest coach to ever do it in college basketball. Like, UConn could be the best team in the country. Am I off there?
You're absolutely not off there, but you must put some respect on Nika Mule's name as one of the pieces.
Yeah, I forgot. I totally forgot she existed for a second. I don't know how that happened.
I don't know how you can't look at her game day fits for the Seattle Storm and forget she exists, but
I don't know. That's on me. Nika Mule is awesome.
That's beside the point. But
Jonathan was probably thinking, "What are you thinking? How do you forget Nika Mule?"
But
dude, she was fantastic last year.
She was the best guard defender in college basketball.
She almost won them that Iowa game by herself.
She was the best guard defender in college basketball, men's or women's, last year.
No, Nika Mule was definitely an incredible piece of what that Connecticut team is. But this UConn has been for the past 2 or 3 seasons just absolutely riddled with injuries and still found a way to have success. Last year, they were one moving screen away from the national championship game. And that was basically with Paige Beckers playing 1 through 5 at times in that season. There was one game where Paige Beckers had to take the tip, and it wasn't like a Steph Curry Wembanyama situation. She was legitimately playing the 5. So with Connecticut, I think it's a case of if they stay healthy, they're definitely a national title contender. If they get the injury bug again, which personally I don't want to see it because I want to see all these great teams and great stars compete against each other, I think Connecticut will struggle with injuries again. And the thing is, they have so much depth that even if 1, 2, even 3 key pieces go down, they have enough people to fill that void and still absolutely steamroll the Big East.
All right, Jack. Last question for you. Actually, a couple more questions. Last team-based question for you. 3 mid-major teams that people might not know about that you think will be really, really good. And I'm going to start this off, and I'm going to take one away from you, and you know who I'm going to take away from you. And
I know who you're taking away.
Jonathan, who am I taking away?
Fairfield.
I'm taking the Fairfield Stags, who went 31-2 last year, won the MAC, won 29 games in a row. Bring back MAC Player of the Year, Nellie Brown, MAC Rookie of the Year, Megan Anderson. They bring back Katie Lamoureux. They bring back Amina Selimovic. They bring back a whole bunch of players from last year, as well as bringing in Jillian Herter, a transfer from Rutgers who hit 63s last year. That transfer class is so good for the MAC. That talent level is just ridiculous for the MAC. Carly Thibault-Dudonis is one of the best young coaches in all of college basketball. And I think Fairfield is going to win the MAC convincingly again. Jack, take 3 other teams.
So I think first of all, I just want to touch on Fairfield really quickly, if I might. The interesting thing about Fairfield is that there were a bunch of teams that were going to schedule Fairfield and then ducked. I think that's although it obviously you hate to see teams doing that, I think that's the greatest compliment of a mid-major basketball program when you have a bunch of really strong teams that will refuse to play you out of fear of losing. The first team I want to look at is the Green Bay Phoenix, and this was a team, they played the Lady Vols in the first round of the NCAA tournament. They play at an absolutely ferocious pace, shoot the 3 ball very well, and that's something that I definitely expect to continue this season. They basically have 2 players 6'2" or taller on their whole team. They play incredibly fast. And when you look at who they bring back this year, they definitely have a team that can win the Horizon League again. Last year, they were an 11 seed. I wouldn't be surprised to see that continue again. Maddie Schreiber, their second leading scorer, comes back this year. But what Green Bay does really well is they spread the ball to so many different players. I mean, last year they only had 2 scorers in double digits, but they still found a way to win their conference, win it convincingly, get to the NCAA tournament, and for 2 or 3 quarters, give Tennessee a game. So Green Bay is definitely a team that I have my eye on to a substantial level as Sam is eating or doing something right now. I'd like to think he's, at least paying some attention to what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I love Green Bay. Fear the Phoenix. We fear the Phoenix. We'll talk Green Bay men's basketball soon. Jack, do you have anything else to add on the mid-major side?
And I think another team to look at is Middle Tennessee. They're a team that beat Louisville in the NCAA tournament last year. The only seed upset in the entire first round was 11 seed MTSU beating Louisville. And it was definitely not one I had on my bracket. But I should have known because this MTSU squad, Rick Insell, one of the best coaches in the women's game. And I remember driving down to Huntsville, Alabama, 3.5 hours through the absolute middle of nowhere to watch MTSU just outplay Tennessee for 40 minutes. And then they did it to Louisville. And They gave LSU a game in the second round, and they return a lot of that talent that did so.
All right. All right. Your picks for National Player of the Year. Who will win National Player of the Year?
If Paige Beckers can stay healthy, I think Paige Beckers wins Player of the Year just because of, and I know it's not a team award, but when your team is clearly one of the top 3 in the country, that certainly plays a role in the eyes of voters. And just because of how dominant she's going to be able to be against the competition she plays, not only in the Big East, but Gina Auriemma, as always, not scared at all of scheduling a very difficult non-conference and did so again. She's going to have a lot of opportunities to play on national television and impress at that level. So I think Paige Beckers would be my preseason pick Player of the Year.
National champion pick.
If UConn can stay healthy, I think they win the national championship this year.
Thank you so much, Jack, for coming on, and enjoy the opening day of the women's basketball season. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you. One game to keep an eye on, those Green Bay Phoenix taking on Kansas State. That'll be a really interesting game tomorrow on the women's side. And number 1 South Carolina playing Michigan in Vegas. Last year, LSU was number 1 and lost to Colorado in this same event in Vegas. So another game to keep an eye on.
All right. Thank you so much, Jack.
All right.
Have a great season. All right, Jonathan. Let's get down to business. It took us an hour and 52 minutes, but let's get down to business. Let's talk about every single game. No, okay. We're not gonna talk about all 182 games happening tomorrow. 99 of which are non-D1 or whatever the stat was that Sweeney tweeted out.
I actually was going to read that tweet to kick off the segment, if you don't mind.
Go ahead, read it.
So this is from Kevin Sweeney this morning. 82 of the 199 D1 games tomorrow involve a D1 versus a non-D1 team. Boo, sucks. That's not in the tweet. I just added that.
I think that was implied.
Of those 82, 16 are Division II, 33 are Division III. The other 33 are against non-NCAA colleges/universities. Over under 80.5 Division I wins here. I will say over.
I'm going to go under.
Okay.
I think that 2 D2s get wins.
Okay. So Sweeney also adds some of the highlights.
All right, no, we're not reading this part.
No, we need to do this.
Fine.
Some of the highlights: 2 Westminsters, Missouri and Pennsylvania, LaGrange and Hannibal LaGrange, 3 Dallas schools: Dallas Christian, UNT Dallas, and University of Dallas. 5 names: Howard Payne, William Peace, Paul Quinn, Alice Lloyd, William Carey. That's all I'm going to read.
Oh, you're not reading the last part?
You want me to?
Do you want to?
Dude, Will commented Memphis versus Missouri.
Memphis obviously being the D2, right?
Yeah, for sure.
All right.
I love Memphis fans acting all high and mighty after they had a terrible year last year.
It's funny. Anyway, let's talk about some of the big games tomorrow. We're going to start, obviously, with the first game, D1 versus D1 game of the season. We're going to talk about Charleston versus Southern Illinois. No, we're not.
Time to talk some Valley.
Valley update. Let's go. But
no. We got to save it.
No more than 1 minute on this game, Jonathan. Go.
Okay, so I expect Charleston to win because I think they'll be a more cohesive team. Southern Illinois right now is a lot of transfers coming in. Got to mesh together. New coach. Really like the hire of Scott Nagy, but that's a team with a lot of transfers that are going to mesh together. They don't really return much outside of Kennard Davis, who I think will be their best player. It's a physical wing out of St. Louis. That is now a sophomore. I expect him to be one of the breakout guys in the conference. Some people I've talked to think that Ali Deba from Abilene Christian's the best transfer the conference has. He is another one of their guards. Watch out for Elijah Elliott as well. They're going to need Drew Steffi's shooting, but I think, like I said, Charleston, the more cohesive unit. It's first year coach versus first year coach. So That's an exciting storyline. But yeah, I expect Charleston to handle Southern Illinois tomorrow.
I introed that wrong. I thought that the first D1 versus D1 game of the season was Santa Clara St. Louis. So,
Field of 68, part of the Field of 68 Classic tip-off, whatever it is.
Field of 68. Here we go. Let's talk about St. Louis and Santa Clara, Jonathan. I love both. Both of these teams are like potentially at-large contenders.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And you were kind of hinting at it with St. Louis earlier in the show that like if they lose to Santa Clara, they're behind the 8 ball. Look at their schedule after this. They play against Avila University, which is incredible.
Robbie is playing 1-on-5.
Sorry, on Sunday. And he is the 1 and one of the 5. Then there's Loyola Marymount, Wichita State, who could be good, but like that's a neutral. It's probably not going to be quad 1. It might not even be quad 2. Quinnipiac at home is going to be quad 3, maybe even 4. Like it's going to start off as 4. It could be 3. UML at home is going to be quad 2 or 3. No, quad 3. Quad 3. Jackson State, San Francisco away. That could be quad 1. But that's not a very good quad 1. Like they don't have many quad 1 opportunities. Santa Clara is going to be a quad 2 game probably. You can't really lose this if you're St. Louis.
If this team wants to build an at-large team, they have to do it through the conference being better than we anticipate. We think there are a lot of good teams in this league. We don't think there are very many great ones right now. So if a couple teams emerge and St. Louis can be one of those teams, that's where they build their at-large resume. And I do feel bad because like this is kind of the situation that Josh Schertz was stuck in last year too. Why would you want to play them? Like I completely understand like where the high majors are coming from, and I don't know the solution to fix it. Sam, I'm sure you've thought about a solution for this more than me. But in terms of the actual matchup tomorrow, I think Santa Clara might be too athletic for St. Louis. That's kind of where I'm leading with this game. St. Louis, if St. Louis wins this game, it's going to be because they're more technically sound, they hit more outside shots, and as great as Herb Sendek is, Josh Schertz outcoaches him.
Yep, I think, especially with Robbie a little bit hobbled, this could be Santa Clara winning this game. I think Carlos Stewart against Isaiah Swope is a fun matchup, but I think Stewart could kind of pester him on the ball and make life difficult. I think Adama off a ball, like I don't know who's guarding him. Are they going to be able to? Is Kalu Anya going to be able to guard him?
That's probably going to be the one.
And I don't know. I think Christoph Tilley against Robbie Avila is going to be fascinating. But I just think right now, I think St. Louis shoots well enough for this to be a game. They're going to shoot the crap out of the ball all year. Gibson Jimerson is going to shoot the crap out of the ball. Swope will really shoot. And I think AJ Casey will have to play a lot in this game too. And I think he's going to have to play a lot all season. I think he's good. But I don't know, especially if Kobe Johnson doesn't play. He's questionable, a game time decision. I'm looking at St. Louis as vulnerable. I'm not sure I'd pick them to lose. I mean, they're +2 on KenPom. What's the spread of that game on?
I think it's +2 as well.
I think I would take St. Louis to cover that, but I wouldn't be confident in picking them to win.
Okay.
Give me one second.
Just weird last minute stuff always happens with these kind of things. But yeah, I mean, I'm interested to see how Josh Schertz uses this bench. They were like 104th in bench minutes 2 seasons ago at Indiana State. Really only played 6 guys last year, with Jake Wolf playing sparingly. So yeah, I'm interested because I do think this team is much deeper than the team he had at Indiana State last year. So I'll be interested to see how they use that bench tomorrow.
Denver, Stanford, Marist, Harvard. I'm just going to read off some D1 versus D1 games. If you have any thoughts, jump in.
I got you.
Denver, Stanford. I'm excited to see that Timo guy that PDT was talking about.
Yeah, now I am.
Denver. I'm not very excited to watch Stanford. I'm not sure how much of that game I will watch. Probably a good amount. Actually, probably not that much because it's going to be on at the same time as Santa Clara St. Louis. And then after that game's over, Marist Harvard's on, and I'm going to be watching Marist Harvard.
Yeah, you will. I will be watching Valpo Liberty at that time.
Valpo Liberty, do you have any thoughts on that?
Valparaiso is a team with a lot of continuity. I think they're really underrated on a national scale right now. Ken Palm's got them at 226 to start the season, which I think is like dead last in the league. Yeah, it's last in the league. I would be pretty surprised if this Valpo team finished last in the league. I think they keep it closer than what the spread is right now. They're a projected 9-point favorite or 9-point underdog, 9.5 on like FanDuel right now. Ken Palm has it as a 7-point margin. I think it's closer than that. I think Valpo has a chance in this one. Not saying they're going to win, but their continuity, I think, gives them a real advantage. And Liberty has some of that too.
And I'm going to say the same thing about Marist. They are underdogs against Harvard. I'm surprised by that. I think Marist is better than Harvard. I don't know what Evan Nelson's going to look like for Harvard. He hasn't played in a long time. But I think you're going to look at this Marist team, and I think they have what it takes to control this game pace-wise. I think they have enough in the backcourt with Jaden Collins-Roberts and Josh Pasquarelli. I think they're going to win this game on the road.
All right.
Sacred Heart against Temple, 5:30 at the Leopold Center. Shout out to Pat Dallahan,
who will be in attendance.
McNeese, South Dakota State, the third game of the Field of 68 tip-off.
Yeah.
I said this about South Dakota State. I texted you about South Dakota State a little bit ago, right? And I said there's going to be two guys on that team that are going to score a lot this year. Oscar Clough, who's a transfer from Washington State, and Kalen Gary, who was a freshman last year, averaged like 7 a game. I think both of those guys have the chance to average like 15, 16 plus this season for South Dakota State. They're really good at player development. Eric Henderson is a great coach, but it's McNeese. Like McNeese is winning this game.
Yeah, this is a tough matchup. McNeese has a level of athleticism that mid-majors just don't have. I will say I'm interested to watch Isaac Lindsey tomorrow, who's at Wisconsin for 3 years, transferred down to South Dakota State. I would assume that he's going to be their starting point guard tomorrow.
Yes, I would assume so as well. Probably him with Gary in the backcourt.
Yeah.
But McNeese, I think they're too athletic as a whole. Clough should be interesting, though. Clough has a chance to really dominate in the low post in that game because, I mean, Shoemate is 6'6". Joe Charles is 6'7". And by the way, I think that the guy who's kind of, when we talk about McNeese, like everyone talks about Shoemate, Sincere Parker, Brandon Murray, Quadier. I think the guy that gets lost in the mix of the McNeese chat is Joe Charles.
Yeah.
I think Joe Charles is a fantastic defensive player. He was really good at Louisiana, and he can score a little bit as well. So I think Joe Charles is going to have a really, really impressive year. And I think they'll need him to be big, really from day one.
Yeah.
Corpus Christi against Purdue.
I mean, the aspect of no Zach Edey makes this kind of watchable, I guess.
Bucknell, Delaware. I know you're excited to see the freshman, Isaiah Pasha.
Mm-hmm. There's 2 freshmen in that game I like.
That game's on Flow Hoops. Let's skip it. Miami of Ohio and App State. Not really fascinated by Miami, Ohio, App State. I am a little fascinated by, but that's not going to be a game I focus much on.
Yeah, no, I probably won't be watching that one.
Yeah. I mean, it's 6:30. It's the same time as Fordham St. John's.
Yeah. Also another Valley team right around then plays.
I just want to say, I think Fordham is going to kind of stink this year. We talked about it on the A10 preview. I don't like their guards all that much. Abdu is fun. Abdu Simbila against Zubi Ejiofor is going to be a fun matchup to watch. Kind of a good test for Zubi to get a physical, really good defender in there on day one. I wonder how much they're going to play Matt Zona. I know he started both of their exhibitions, which I thought was kind of crazy. I think Abdu is pretty clearly a better player. But yeah, there's that. And you wanted to talk about Missouri State and Butler.
Well, I don't really want to talk about it, but like it is a game I probably will watch for at least a little tomorrow because it's a Valley team starting at 5:45 before a couple minutes before everything else gets going. I said this. I know, Sam, that you didn't listen to all of the Valley preview, only like the first couple teams at the start. I don't know how Missouri State's going to score. Their best player, in my eyes, is a freshman, now sophomore transfer from Austin P, who averaged 7 a game last year on like 30-something% from the field. Like, I'm really concerned about this team. Obviously, it's their last year in the league, but I think Butler should probably run these guys out of the gym tomorrow.
Buffalo, Old Dominion. Buffalo stinks. They're going to.
They're like. I didn't realize how bad they were. Like, they're 348th in KenPom. That's like unacceptable for like the level of program they've been in the past.
Yeah, I mean, they were 6 seed like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Biggest fall off of any program in the country. Not even close.
Yeah, that's a perfectly fair assessment.
Navy, St. Joe's. St. Joe's is fun.
Yeah.
Navy, not so much. They got Austin Benigni back, though. PDT mentioned Monmouth, Michigan State.
Michigan State looking for an opening night win this season.
Oh, yeah, and as we said, sorry about that. There will be a show tomorrow night. I'm just going to warn you, there's not going to be much basketball analysis.
If you want, like, listen, I will watch the games during the day. I will watch Duke. I will watch Mizzou. We will be doing the show while Baylor Gonzaga is on. I will probably get some eyes on some other games tomorrow night. Hopefully some of the high major ones. Hopefully a couple of the mid-major ones as well. But if you are a fan of box score reading, tomorrow night's show is for you. Because that's what tomorrow night is about. It is us getting a look at so many Division I college basketball teams for the first time and figuring out who played well, who won, what happened, what are the notable results. Because there will be games that teams are buying that they will lose tomorrow. There will be players who have crazy performances who we don't expect. Didn't somebody weird have like a triple-double last year on opening night?
Let me see. I think there was.
This is not great podcasting here, but like I remember,
I don't know if anyone had a triple-double, but like Quentin Post had 31 and 11, Jordan King had 34, Cam Hildreth 33, Colin Milton 34.
I mean, if you like I said, if you like box score, if you like listening to people reading box.
Bub Carrington, Carlton Carrington had a triple-double.
Yes.
Carlton Carrington.
You refused to call Bub because it's a ridiculous nickname.
I just called him that by accident.
I'm quoting you, so.
I know.
Who's the guy that you told me you're not calling by his nickname this year?
Oh my God. Elijah Moore.
Yeah.
Yeah, I refuse to.
I'm not calling him Choppa. That's a ridiculous nickname.
Yeah, he has to earn it. And honestly, Carlton Carrington earned it. I'm still calling him Carlton Carrington.
Yeah. All right. And I'm UCF. Be careful with your words.
Yeah, that's kind of why I was silent. I'm not really sure what I want to say about UCF.
So you know
the team was minus 43 against Georgia.
You know the atomic bomb versus coughing baby meme?
Yes.
Texas A&M is awful in non-con every year. I'm worried this is going to just be coughing baby versus coughing baby.
At least like Texas A&M, like we know what they are.
If you want to watch, yes, but what they are is a not enjoyable watch. And so,
Oh no, I don't. I'm not going to be watching this
like,
game.
I will probably not watch this game. Like, Duke starts at 6. I will have Duke on. Mizzou starts at 7. They will go on then. I don't know what else I'll be watching at 6 yet, but it will not be this game. This is.
By the way, there are. Do you know how many games there are that start at 7? Like 100,000.
Yes, dude. This is going to be an abominable watch tomorrow.
What about North Florida, South Carolina? First game of the post-Chaz Lanier era for North Florida.
Who is North Florida playing?
South Carolina.
Oh, I hope North Florida wins.
Some Colin Murray Boyles stuff.
Yeah, he's obviously pretty high on a lot of people's breakout lists. Not mine, because he averaged over 10 points a game last year. But he's a guy that's going to be an NBA prospect that's talked about all year, even if South Carolina isn't that good.
Morehead State and Louisville. I'm excited to see.
Morehead's down, aren't they?
Yeah, they lost Spradlin.
And some players, right?
Yes. They did. But just on that, I'm excited to look at the box score and just see how many threes Louisville took.
Take care of business. Like, Louisville just needs to go out there and win by as many as they can. Because
I don't think that's a game that I'm gonna have a ton of interest in watching the film of.
You know what we will have interest in watching the film of, though?
What?
JMU Ohio.
Yes, that might. We'll get into that in a minute. That might be the best game.
And Toledo, actually. God, the Max Sunbelt Challenge tomorrow is going to be great.
JMU Ohio might be the best game of the day. I think JMU is really underrated.
Gonzaga plays Baylor tomorrow.
Nobody's going to be watching that. It's at 12:30.
Dude, you said it was the best game of the day. It's not.
Okay, it's not. You're right.
I love propping up the mid majors on here. It's not better than Gonzaga Baylor.
Okay, it might be the second best game of the day.
Depends what you have expectations for this Rodney Terry Jake Diebler matchup.
We'll get into that later, but I love James Madison this year. I think they're getting really undervalued by some people that kind of just assume Troy or Arkansas State's going to be the best team in the Sun Belt. Those teams are probably just as good as James Madison. I think James Madison is just as good as them.
I mean, James Madison's my pick to win the Sun Belt.
Got Mark Freeman. You've got Zach Anderson. You've got Elijah Hutchins Everett, Justin Taylor. That's a team full of guys that can play.
Mm-hmm.
I think they are going to be really good.
Also, they kept Xavier Brown.
Yeah, Xavier Brown. Eddie Ricks is there too. They brought in Bryce Lindsey. Sorry, Luke Anderson, not Zach Anderson.
Yeah.
AJ Smith is there. Noah Williams, who was at Washington and Washington State. Ebenezer Duwana. I'm just reading their entire roster because it's just a really good roster.
It is a good roster. It's Spradlin. I mean, you said back in, May, that you think the best chance for a coach to jump after year one is Preston Spradlin.
I think Spradlin, Shirts, those two.
Yeah.
But if you look at that game itself against Ohio, I think it's a good matchup for. I mean, I don't really know. I haven't watched these teams play yet. I don't know what they're going to try to do. So I can't really break down this matchup.
Listen, the reality of the situation is we talk all off season. This is our 31st show of season 5. The college basketball season has not started yet. It starts in roughly 16 hours, 15 hours, if you count the non-D1. The reality of the situation is tomorrow night at this time, we will be getting ready to come on here pretty soon, I would imagine. And something in college basketball will have happened.
Probably closer to 10:30.
Something will have happened before we come on here tomorrow that completely takes away everything that we said about a team during the offseason. The reality is we don't have a clue. Like last year people were convinced that Michigan State was a top 5 team in the country. We were not one of them. We were not those people, but people were. By I don't know, 10 Eastern, people had figured out that Michigan State was not as not like anything different than they were the year before.
I don't know what to say about James Madison, Ohio. Like, I think it's going to be an awesome game.
No, it's a great game. Ohio's backcourt's really, really fun. James Madison, we know. We just talked about how good their roster is. Yeah, like, we'll see. I think Elijah Hutchins Everett could have a big game. I don't really know if Ohio
AJ Clayton's good, but
yeah, Clayton's good, but I don't know if Ohio has like the guys to bang with him down low. He's really
Radford, Pitt, Charleston, Southern, Clemson. You mentioned Toledo, Troy, Miles Rigsby. That's your guy.
Yeah.
Ball State, Georgia State. Don't really have a big interest in that one. New Hampshire, UMass. That game might suck.
Iona Princeton?
No, New Hampshire, UMass.
No, I know. I'm just saying Iona Princeton, 7 Eastern.
I'm reading down the list on KenPom, okay?
I'm on CBS right now.
New Hampshire, UMass might be a bad game. 71-50, like 71-52. UMass wins. New Hampshire plays like crap.
Get ready to see some ugly basketball tomorrow.
I think New Hampshire is going to be bad this year.
You have now expressed displeasure for multiple America East teams on this podcast.
Yeah, I didn't get to release my America East preview, but this is just as good. Shout out Tanner McGrath, by the way. That guy.
Dude.
Did the America East preview the way that I did the MAC. You did the Valley. Dylan did the CAA.
There are Sam Fettermans everywhere if you look for them.
Where is this factory so I can set it ablaze? We love Lance Hartzler. Robert Morris against West Virginia. Tucker is going to have a big game. Andy Toole is interesting, but I don't think that RMU team is going to be any good. Brown Siena. I'm very interested. I think Siena is actually going to be pretty good this year.
You think Siena can win?
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised.
I'm looking at the spread. It's only 3.5. I know Nana's hurt right now.
I think I might take Siena with the points.
You know what's weird?
What?
FAU Indiana State totally feels like it should be the 4th game in the Field of 68 tip-off, but it's not. Like, based on the other matchups they have, FAU Indiana State feels like it should be a part of that event.
No doubt. Maine against Duke.
Happy Flag Day in a couple hours.
Oh my God! Somebody just quoted the drop your hottest college basketball take for the upcoming season with Tom Izzo eats a wolf spider on the sideline during a game.
Anything to get Xavier Booker to play hard.
That's better than anything we got last year.
No.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
It's better because it's PG.
There's nothing not PG about what Will
it was just not it was just not something we needed to talk about at that point. Speaking of which, Tuesday night, a college basketball podcast. Yes, we will be talking about college basketball on Tuesday night. Nothing else important in the world is happening on Tuesday night besides SUNY Canton against Colgate men's basketball.
And Evansville, North Texas. I'm actually very excited for this UC Davis Washington game too.
That's Tuesday. We'll get into that tomorrow.
I know.
Are we going to even have time tomorrow? Because our show tomorrow is 45 minutes of just box scores.
We'll figure it out.
Central Connecticut against Providence.
Friar.
I don't want to put Providence on upset watch against the NEC team, but I would like to say I think Central's going to win the NEC.
Okay.
Bellarmine, VCU. VCU should win handily. Gardner-Webb, Tennessee, same thing. Lemoyne, Syracuse, that's where I will be.
I guess this is a good time to announce this, and I'll officially tweet it tomorrow morning. I will be placing a wager on every single game that Sam Fetterman attends this year. Whether he's covering it or just going. Actually, no, we're going to stick to just covering.
I think
so. Yeah,
I'm going to be covering every game I'm going to this year until ACC play.
Yeah, that's true. We will. So yeah, we will be posting that on Twitter tomorrow, and now known as X. And
no, it's always known as Twitter.
We will be tracking this all season long, starting with Syracuse Lemoyne tomorrow.
Are you betting with Grant?
Oh yeah, Grant's going to be involved in this too.
Okay. Manhattan, Maryland. FDU, Miami. USC, Upstate, NC State. St. Francis, Dayton. There are a lot of just bad basketball games.
Hey, I don't care. They're basketball games.
I know. Yeah, it's basketball. Pine Bluff, Cincinnati. Northern Kentucky, Florida State. I think this game kind of puts Florida. I'm going to put Florida State on upset watch.
Yeah. This is one of the bad games.
Okay, I'm going to say it. Would it be an upset?
Yes, it would be an upset.
Okay, it would, because Northern Kentucky's not that good. But Florida State is
8 points. Dude, I mean, the fact that Florida State's an 8-point favorite against Northern Kentucky should force Florida State to hire a new coach now.
Especially considering Northern Kentucky's not that good this year. They're going to be solid.
Yeah, I mean, they lost, dude. So we got one of them here.
Northern Kentucky's going to be solid. They're going to be they're probably a top half team in that league. I don't think they're going to win that league or really come close to winning that league.
We've talked way too much about the Horizon League in the last 2 days.
Oh, we're going to talk a lot more about the Horizon League in a moment. But
yes.
I'm putting Florida State on upset watch. American against LaSalle. I'm putting LaSalle on upset watch.
I know you like this American team.
Yeah. I like American. Matt Rogers, Matt Mayock, Elijah Stevens is there as well. I think that Matt Rogers is going to be the best player on the floor in this game, and that's pretty unquestioned by me. I think he can really score. He's tall. He can shoot. So I like what they're going to do. I'm not sure I'm picking American to win that game, but LaSalle is a 7-point favorite. I have American. I have LaSalle on pretty serious upset watch there.
Is that game taking place at the Daskalaskis Center?
No. That's Drexel.
Oh, shit.
It's taking place at the new Glazer Arena, the first ever game at Glazer Arena.
Is that the one that used to be below the pool?
Yes.
Okay. I got the two confused.
Florida Gulf Coast, UNC Greensboro, Western Michigan, Coastal Carolina, Penn at NJIT, Iona Princeton.
Thoughts?
Princeton's the better team, just straight up.
Princeton got a big win on opening night last year.
And they'll get a big win on opening night again this year. Iona's going to be good in the MAC, but Princeton is clearly a couple steps ahead right now, especially after some not so great secret scrimmage buzz coming out of Iona. Who knows what their lineup's going to look like? We know what Princeton's going to look like. We know how well coached they are. We know how much talent there is. I think I'm confident Princeton wins this game by at least 8 points.
All right.
It's an 11.5 point spread though. That's a big line.
Mm-hmm.
Columbia against Loyola of Maryland. If Columbia loses to Loyola Maryland, I don't think it's going to happen. They're 7-point Ken Pom road favorites. But Josh Loeffler is a good coach. And if Columbia loses to Loyola Maryland, that would kind of be one of the more surprisingly unsurprisingly surprising East Coast results. Just I'm not big on Columbia. I think it's kind of going to come crashing at some point. I would be surprised, though, if Loyola is ready this early in Loeffler's tenure in year one, game one, to kind of get out and pick up a big statement win. But I think that game's going to be close, and I think Columbia pulls it out. Texas A&M, UCF, we talked about. Cal State Northridge and St. Bonaventure. I'm excited to see Cal State Northridge and Andy Newman in person on Wednesday against Lemoyne. I don't know anything about them right now, so I will learn all that on Wednesday.
Great.
I'm excited to watch St. Bonaventure. You got Melvin Council. Lajay Jones should be an impact piece. Desante Bowen as well. So a lot of new pieces that should be fun there. And I think they'll win that game. Northern Illinois against Georgia Southern. Wright State, Kentucky.
New look Kentucky.
New coach at Wright State, Clint Sargent.
That was an internal hire, right?
Yes, it was. North Carolina Central against George Mason. St. Peter's, Seton Hall. Northeastern and BU on opening night at Case Gym. Should be nice. Vermont at UAB. We've had conversations about this matchup. We both kind of think UAB is too athletic, and they're just going to punk Vermont from game one. You would agree with this?
Yeah. UAB just has a different level of player than Vermont. Not to say that Vermont can't win, but that's just a tough way to start your season. I think if Vermont does beat them, it's just like a slow-paced game. Vermont's able to keep them out of transition by hitting shots, not allowing long rebounds.
Yeah. What Vermont has. This is going to be, if Vermont wins, Larry Iofalier would have to have a huge defensive and rebounding performance. I think Vermont would also have to really shoot the ball, and I'm not sure how they're going to do that without TJ Long. Maybe the true freshman Sean Blake comes in and steps up, but I think UAB wins by like 15. I think that they come out big run early in the first half. Maybe it's like 8-8, and they go on like a 12-0 run, and it's not really all that close after that. Yax should have his way. I think Iofalier is one of the best defenders in the East. Not the America East, and just the East of America.
Yeah.
But Yax should have his way. He's bigger. He's stronger. He's more athletic than one of the most athletic guys out there.
Yeah.
Binghamton and Penn State. I drove through Binghamton today.
Well, how was the buzz there?
There is no buzz.
Mm.
Texas Southern. They're actually not going to be that bad, though. Actually, no, they probably will be bad. Never mind. I was thinking of UMBC, who's probably not going to be bad. Texas Southern Xavier, Florida Atlantic, Indiana State. Jonathan, go.
Yeah, I don't think this Indiana State roster is anything to be excited about. They got a new coach. Matthew Graves was an internal hire, getting a second opportunity after what happened at South Alabama. Watch out for Samaje Teal, transfer from Presbyterian. Wouldn't be surprised if he was all Valley, assuming Indiana State is good enough to get him there. But yeah, this is a Florida Atlantic roster that I have in my top 100, and a coach in John Jacobs however it is, who I really like. And I think FAU just has much better players here than Indiana State. Like I said, I thought this should be. Is it a neutral? This is being played in Ohio. Why? I have no idea.
What do you think is Aaron Gray's going to do this year?
Yeah, I mean, he'll have an increased role. Like, obviously, I talked a lot earlier about how Schertz didn't play that many guides there, but I think Jaden Daughtry is actually the returner there to watch out for.
West Georgia against Mississippi State. That is new to Division I West Georgia.
First game. Yeah. Welcome to Division I. Who's better, West Georgia or Mercyhurst?
I don't know anything about West Georgia. Mercyhurst is probably not that bad in the NEC because they play a funky defense and they have Planutis and Reichert.
Okay.
Jeff Planutis, who you obviously know who that is, right? Of course you don't. He was one of the best players in PSAC West He's going to be one of the best players in the NEC. And then there's Aiden Reichert, who scores a lot. Who scores a lot as well. He's like a 14-point a game guy. Planutis was like 19.
You said about 3 phrases in that sentence, and I had no idea what they meant.
What phrases?
You said a conference in there. I'm like, what is that?
PSAC West, Pennsylvania State Athletic Conference West.
Okay.
Dell State against Vatek. Now, okay, if Vatek were playing against like Delaware, I might put them on upset watch. But against Dell State, I can't put them on upset watch. Dell State is probably not going to be all that good.
Just wanted to let you see that.
SEMO against Bradley. If Bradley holds SEMO to like 47 points, or am I going to get the Bradley fans in my mentions?
You might, dude. You might. I can't lie to you. I would.
Yeah.
If you look at your phone when you're at the Dome and Bradley is leading 35-19 at the half, I would just mute your notifications for the time being.
All the Bradley people are going to come after me.
Yeah, I don't know.
They're like that.
Were they? I don't know. Like I'd like everyone in the league. Like I don't really like. I don't really get Valley people coming after me because I try to keep things positive in the league. I do tell it.
I try to as well. Just I don't think Bradley's as good as most people think. Am I not allowed to be a little bit lower on a team?
Were they bookmarking your? Were they bookmarking your tweets?
Let's see.
Because that's how you know.
No bookmarks on this one.
Okay, well.
No bookmarks on this one.
You might be in the clear.
None on this one. 26 on the rankings, though.
Oh, okay. But that could be about multiple teams.
Yeah.
Where are we? Eastern Michigan, Texas State. Eastern Illinois. Lehigh, Northwestern.
I am putting Albany on upset watch. No, they're
upset watch. Dude, they're a 1
They're not good. They're 1-point favorites, which means I'm putting them on upset watch. Yeah, I'm taking Army to win that game outright. With Scovins for year 2, Curry for year 2. I don't think Albany has like that great of a low post presence, so I don't think Army's lack of a low post presence is going to be a problem there either. Rucker is going to score like 27. Rucker is going to have a huge first game back. That's going to be big for him. Lehigh, Northwestern. Shout out TJ. Howard, Kansas. Central Michigan, South Alabama. Holy Cross, Wisconsin. It's going to be a brutal game. Max Green and Tyler Boston. I'm excited to see them, though. I wonder if Jaden Faroa is going to be like really good for Holy Cross because that's possible. I also wonder what the starting lineup looks like for Wisconsin. Is Kamari McGee going to start?
Yep.
Jackson State against Houston. Kent State against Louisiana is another good game. Two good teams. Cleveland State, Michigan. I think Michigan wins comfortably. Florida A&M, TCU. Bowling Green, Southern Miss. Bowling Green, I like their coach, Todd Simon, a lot.
Yeah, they lost a lot off last year's roster. That really overachieved.
I think they can overachieve again.
Hope so.
Maryland Eastern Shore against Vanderbilt. Sorry, Ethan Bach. I'm not on that Hawk Hill.
Hey, it's not a MEAC game.
A&M Commerce against Iowa. Coppin against Wake.
I was on 100 watch tomorrow night.
Yeah. Valley State against Iowa State. Akron, Arkansas State.
You remember 2 years ago when Mississippi Valley State opened the season?
Yes. Akron, Arkansas State. You're going to talk about that one.
Oh yeah, I'm very excited for this one. This is an Arkansas State team that made my top 100. They have a ton of intriguing pieces. Kobe Julian being the one that everyone should know, but Taron Todd, Darian Ford, Avery Feltz off the bench, Joe Pinion coming over from Hogs. Is this his second year there? No, this is his first year there, right? I'm blanking on that. But yeah, Arkansas State has a really good coach. I think that Brian Hodgson will move up, whether it's this year or in the coming years. He recruits at a really high level. We talked about with Adam Finkelstein, the freshman, they have Josh Hill being one of them, Justin Johnson being the other. And then Akron is always just in the mix in the MAC. They took some high major transfers, Seth Wilson, James Okonkwo. Sam, I know you've kind of said your quarrels with this Akron team, but I think Tavari Johnson can be a breakout guy here for them. Isaiah Gray, I thought, was really good at Cornell last year, and I really like the take here. So yeah, this is just a really good game between two mid-major teams that are on pretty high level.
What are my quarrels with Akron?
You texted me like a week ago and said, like, does Akron really think that just like taking these West Virginia rejects is going to work?
I don't think the West Virginia rejects are their best players, though.
No, I think Isaiah Gray and Tavari Johnson are.
Yeah, I think they have a bunch of. I mean, I think Seth Wilson is going to be pretty good, though. Where was I? Wichita State, Western Kentucky. That is a game.
That's a banger.
That's a game. Like, we will come back and we will be talking about that game. That is a 1-point spread on Ken Palm. I am so excited to see Dom McHenry. I'm so excited to see that Western Kentucky team against a new look Wichita State team with a bunch of guys coming in. You got Corey Washington. I think Corey Washington might be that team's best player.
Certainly could.
Maybe that's my MAC bias speaking, but Justin Hill's there too. Running Gray, Zane Meeks, Matej Bosnak.
I'm interested to see whether Justin Hill fixes the problem, which they had last year, which was lack of a point guard. But obviously, Zion Pipkin, talented freshman too. AJ McGinnis coming over as well. This is a certainly better roster for Paul Mills that he had a year ago. I like the Wichita State team.
Quinnipiac Yale is another game we'll probably chat a little bit about tomorrow. I think Yale wins, but I'm very, very intrigued to see where that scoring is coming from Yale, because Ken Palm projects Yale to score 76 points. Like, how are they getting to 7? Like, I know they can. I know somebody will step up. Trevor Mullen, it could be him. It could be Casey Simmons, whoever it is. Nick Townsend. Garam's probably not much of a scorer. Alatan could be.
So who's assisting Pulakidis on the offensive end?
Bez.
On the offensive end?
Bez.
Well, yeah, but like, who else?
That was what I was saying. Like, who else is there? Like, I don't know how they're getting to 76 points, but I think they could get there. Quinnipiac, we know how they're getting to like 68 or whatever to get. It'll be a lot from Amari, a lot from assists from Savion to Alexis, to Amari, and to Paul, and then Ryan Mabry will shoot. Lafayette Villanova.
Villanova's top 20 in Ken Palm to start the season.
There would be some insane, like Kyle Neptune would need a police escort if they lose this game.
And we're not encouraging anyone, by the way.
No, we're not encouraging anyone.
For legal purposes.
Yes. One of the games I'm most excited for, Lipscomb Duquesne.
Oh, yeah. Lipscomb's the favorite. In
Agnesevich and Will Pruitt talk on the podcast tomorrow night.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Lipscomb's the favorite, obviously, in the ASUN. Sam, I know you like them a lot. But I like this Duquesne team a lot. I think Duquesne's the rightful favorite here. This is a team that obviously is going through a coaching change, got new blood with Drew Joyce in there, and then a lot of transfers. Jacob Natchez was on my breakout list. I apologize if I'm pronouncing that name wrong. I know, and I know it was corrected on the A10 pod. But yeah, like you got guys like Trey Dinkins coming in, Maximus Edwards, Alex Williams from Furman, Jay-Sean Corbett from Chicago State. And then you have DeMichael, Natchez, Kareem Rozier, all back. David Dixon. as well. So they do return some key pieces, but who is replacing the production they got out of their guards on the defensive end last year?
Yeah, it's a huge, huge game just to see. Like, who's guarding Will Pruitt? Who's guarding Jacob Ognisevich? Like, those two guys are like, Ognisevich is a 6'7" guy that can score and really get into the paint. Like, Dixon is Dixon gonna have to come out and guard him on the perimeter as he gets into the paint? Is Corbett going to be able to handle him? And then in the backcourt, who's guarding Will Pruitt? I really don't know where they're getting defensive production out of the backcourt. I would like to see if Cam Crawford can be good enough offensively to be good defensively.
Yeah. Who do we got next? Oh, Charlotte Presbyterian. And then Mizzou Memphis.
Talk about Mizzou Memphis for a minute.
I hope Will's not watching, because if I'm wrong, he's going to come back and hold me to this. Memphis is a mess. They lost coaches. They have players that want to quit and now are coming back before the season starts. Like, it feels like Memphis has played half a season already.
By the way, can I just say this? Like, if Tyreek Smith did that to me, and I were the coach, and he said, no, now I want to come back.
Goodbye.
Go away. Like,
goodbye.
No, you don't. Your heart's not in this.
No.
That's my 2 cents.
I don't think, it feels like this Memphis team has played half a season already. They were a mess last year. Sure, they have some talent, but just don't think that, I can't really expect Memphis to be like a cohesive unit on a night-to-night basis. And I know this is just game one, and some nights Memphis will look like world beaters. Other nights they won't. But I think Mizzou's going to win tomorrow. I think this is a Mizzou team that's much improved. They have way better talent. They figured some stuff out. I'll say that my out here is if Tony Perkins doesn't play, it gives them a significantly less chance, because that's your guy that's guarding either Tyrese Hunter or PJ Haggerty, one of the two.
I also don't think this Memphis team is as talented as last year.
Ooh, that's interesting.
They have no depth at all.
Yeah, I mean, you lost David Jones, you lost Quinterly. Jaquan Walton was good for you at times.
It's about it's about as talented as last year. I'll say that.
It's not significant enough that I feel like it makes a substantial difference.
I also think Mizzou wins this game. I think Memphis is just in a really bad spot as a program right now, and I don't know how they're getting out of it.
I'll tell you how. Will Wade.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how they're getting out of it this season is what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Mercyhurst and GW, Fairfield and Rhode Island. I don't think it's going to happen because I don't think Fairfield's all that good. But 11-point spread on Ken Palm? Really?
I'm rooting for Fairfield. For you.
That's an agenda game for me. We can't have Rhode Island taking it. We can't have Sebastian Thomas going ham on a MAC team. Although, to be fair, my big concern about Fairfield all offseason has been backcourt defense. And Sebastian Thomas dominated low major guards last year, and maybe he dominates a low major guard this year.
Uh-oh.
Okay. Southern Indiana DePaul.
Oh, you skipped Citadel Boston College. How dare you?
I skipped Citadel Boston College on purpose.
I wonder why.
I think both teams hope they could skip that game.
Southern Indiana DePaul, yeah.
But all right, we've got to we're running low on time considering how long this next segment takes.
So do you
give me 3 games that you could see as upsets?
Well, South Florida's interesting. That game's being played in Jacksonville. South Florida's roster, obviously, we liked them a little coming into the season. It was extremely tragic what happened to Amir Abdur-Rahim, and I'm sure it's going to be tough for those kids to get up to play tomorrow night against Florida. But I don't choose to usually root for neutral in neutral games. I usually don't choose to root for someone unless I have some sort of agenda. But I hope South Florida wins tomorrow. They deserve it. And I don't think there should be a problem with that.
I think those kids absolutely deserve it.
Mm-hmm.
There's no doubt in my mind that I would love to see them win, but I can't have Florida losing on day one of the season either.
Yeah, that would be a pretty disastrous result for your agenda.
For our agenda, you have them high too.
I do too. My heart's not really in it with them like you, but I do think they are a good team. Towson St. Mary's is another one I'm very excited for. I think there's
St. Mary's by 20.
Yeah, there's St. Mary's usually does pretty well playing down to comp, but
playing down above comp.
If we really don't think St. Mary's is as good as they were last year, which somehow they will end up being that good, but if we really don't think that St. Mary's is that good, Towson can win. And then PDT mentioned it. Chattanooga is going to beat Tennessee tomorrow. Or sorry, USC. Chattanooga, I can't believe it took this long for you and I to realize how good Chattanooga is, but this is rightfully one of the favorites in the SoCon.
Not beating USC.
Huh?
They're not beating USC.
Yes, they are. And I'm going to clip this tomorrow when you're wrong.
Chattanooga, well, all right, let's put $5 on it.
No, I'm not betting $5 when I can go bet it on a book and probably get plus 300 or something like that.
I'll give you plus 300.
Chattanooga is
hold
on.
If
what is
USC wins, you give me $3. If Chattanooga wins, I give you $9.
Ken Palm has this as a 12-point game. Let's go see what our good friends at the Duel have.
Not our good friends, by the way. They do not sponsor us.
No, they don't. Dude, Chattanooga's plus 650. Are you kidding me?
I'm not giving you plus 650 on that. I'll give you plus 300.
No.
Chattanooga's not going to win.
Dude, I'm just going to go wait until we're recording tomorrow night when Chattanooga wins and clip it and post it on Twitter and expose you for how wrong you were.
I think USC is not bad. What is this?
I don't think USC is bad either. I just think Chattanooga's really good.
I do too. They're still 12-point Ken Palm dogs.
Okay, fine. I'm not allowed to predict upsets.
You are. Just what's your logic besides Chattanooga's good?
Chattanooga has a point guard, an established point guard, multiple established point guards. USC does not. USC is going to be taking the first month of the season to figure out what they are. And Chattanooga knows what they are.
That's fair. That's a good explanation. I disagree. I think St. Thomas and Desmond Claude as ball handlers will work really well against low major. Okay, Chattanooga's not a low major team. They are a mid-major with really good athleticism. But I think it'll work well against in down games. I don't think it's going to be a problem in down games.
USC Chattanooga on the Big Ten Network tomorrow night.
UC Riverside in Oregon. If UC Riverside wins this game, it leads off the show.
Leads off the show, dude. We'll be live when this game's being played.
If it's close, we're waiting,
dude. I don't think Riverside's going to win tomorrow, but
they're not.
I hope they do.
And Baylor Gonzaga is the last game I want to talk about.
Oh, we skipped Chris Holtman versus Rodney Terry. How wonderful of you.
Chris Holtman versus Chris Beard.
We also missed Doug Gottlieb versus his former school.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. That could be close.
Dude, I think it will be close. We'll see. I mean, Lutz is a good coach. Gottlieb may be overmatched on that side. I don't want to be disrespectful, but Doug Gottlieb is the most inexperienced coach in college basketball, in Division I college basketball.
He's the most inexperienced head coach in Division I college basketball for the last 15 years.
And Steve Lutz just took Corpus Christi to the tournament 2 years ago in Western Kentucky last year. So
correct.
Yeah. And then Gonzaga Baylor. What do we think?
I haven't given like that. That's the weird thing about the offseason is like you don't actually give any thought to the actual like first games that are going to be played.
It's so much easier with football because there's so many less games.
Like I haven't thought about Baylor Gonzaga for like a second all offseason.
On a surface level, like analysis, like the guard matchup's fun here. Roach and Nunn, even Langston Love against obviously Hickman and Nemhard.
I will say something interesting that someone pointed out. I think it was Eric Fawcett pointed it out. Might have been Sweeney in the Discord. Was Gonzaga was using Caliph Battle as a screener and putting Ike and Greg in the corners and Ajayi in the dunker spot. And that was a really fascinating look with Nemhard at the 1. I want to see if they go to that look against Baylor. I don't know if spacing Baylor out, though, is the best medicine for Gonzaga tomorrow. I think they should want to pound the rock.
Well,
against
the best thing Baylor does defensively is they keep you out of the middle of the floor.
Yeah.
So like,
but I don't know how
you beat them with movement. You beat them with movement and quick passes, not like middle of the floor ball screens.
No, but I think that if Ike and Greg can kind of get some positioning in this game, I don't know if Baylor has the bodies to really effectively keep them out of the paint.
Yeah, that's also really interesting because like presumably you would then be putting VJ Edgecombe defensively in some ball screens. It's probably not something he's had to deal with a whole ton. He's obviously a superb athlete. And I do like really wonder what he's going to be tomorrow night, what he's going to look like. But yeah, that could be a really interesting look.
Who do you think wins?
Give me the Zags.
Give me the Zags.
Higher ranked team in the preseason. This game is in Vegas, right?
Correct.
Right. Interesting comment before we start the bets, by the way. Yeah, I'm really upset about Patelis like putting chemicals in his body. Oh no.
Anyway, we're sorry to anyone listening. If you, by the way, are listening and you've gotten this far, you are a hero.
Yeah, you are one of these sickos.
If you're listening to the podcast, not watching it right now, if you're listening to it on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, and you've gotten this far, shoot me a DM and I will I don't know what I'm going to do. I was going to say I'll give you a cash prize, but I am not giving you a cash prize. So just let me know and we appreciate it.
Yeah.
Bets!
Yes.
Let's take a quick break. And we're back.
I took the brief moment while we were not here to criticize my fraternity's basketball team.
I was getting Swedish fish. All right, if you're not familiar, 10 teams, over under, wins for the season, regular season only. Then we do 5 players, over under for certain stats. We usually do this by going to the random number generator and going to KenPom. And I will share my screen. And I can't do this, so God damn it.
Sicko.
I very, very much apologize to all of you who are listening to this, which is probably none of you right now. Again, if you are listening to this on Spotify, you're a hero. I don't know how I'm going to upload this entire file to Spotify, especially for bearing with us during the break. which
Yeah.
was just totally not planned, and I just wanted to do it because I thought it would be funny. I thought it would be
more. Next.
I thought it would be funny to Jonathan. That's kind of what that was kind of my thought process.
It was okay.
All right, let's do this. Share screen, window. All right.
Sam's giving us a play-by-play of how he's screen sharing.
Random.org.
I'm glad that you know that website name by heart.
It's random.org. It's the easiest website name ever to remember.
I would disagree.
All right, who's the first team we will be bantering about?
235.
Yes.
American.
South Alabama.
Okay.
Ken Palm has them 15 and 15. Are they in an MTE? I don't believe so.
Doesn't appear they are.
Here, let me just look this up. Their head coach is Richie Riley, I believe. Yes,
Yep,
their head coach
is
is
correct.
Richie. Their head coach is Richie Riley. Who's on this team?
Jade Cooper, Dylan.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Euro, Maxwell Land.
Ethan Kaiser.
Yeah, Illinois kid. Played at Metamora.
They are in an MTE. It's the 25th and 26th Incarnate Word, Western Illinois.
Both those are on the Ken Palm schedule.
Yes. 15 and 15 is their projected record.
You going over?
You go? What do you think?
I'm going over.
I might go under.
Okay.
Like, the Sun Belt's going to be tough. Like, look at that schedule. Like Arkansas State.
Yeah, but they're not like comically easy.
I mean, they could lose to Nichols. They could lose to Jacksonville State. They could lose to TCU. Like, that non-con's really easy.
Two non-D1s.
But they could win like 4 games in the Sun Belt.
I don't disagree. Do we have our first bet?
I'll go under 15 and a half.
No, 15.
Then we might tie.
That's fine. Like, some of these can push.
All right, fine. Let me just Jonathan bet.
The only way we do alt lines here is if we get desperate and we can't find some.
All right.
Are you putting these in a note?
Yes.
Okay, excellent.
All right. We're gonna have to find the Oregon State UCF bet this year as well.
Yeah.
All right, let's do this. We have a bet. South Alabama. That was very fast.
Yes.
33. Xavier.
Ooh, okay.
We both like this team.
Indeed.
Ken Palm says 19 and 11. It does not have the second game of their MTE, which is
What are they playing in?
they're in the Skip Prosser Classic. It's either Michigan or Virginia Tech.
Okay.
All right. They are projected to go. All right. So put the line 20 and a half.
19 and a half.
I'd go over.
Well, do you want to just do 20 then? I mean, Xavier's dumb because we both like this team and we probably were both going over anyway.
Well, yeah, that's why we keep pushing the line higher.
Just
20
move
and a
on to
half.
the next team. We have 362 other teams. We don't need to use all.
Well, let's see if we can disagree on something.
Okay.
20 and a half.
Over.
21 and a half.
Over.
I'm not sure I'm comfortable going over, but I don't want to go under that either.
Okay. Well, then we're done.
Would you go over 22 and a half or no?
No.
All right. See, now we move on. That's how this works. 258. 258 in Ken Palm is Lafayette. 17-14 is their projection. 10-8 in the Patriot League. What would you say to 17? Oh shoot, you can
What?
Well, nothing. What would you say to 17?
Over.
17 and a half.
No MTE, right?
What would you say to 17 and a half?
Over.
18 and a half.
Probably under.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I don't think I'd go over 18 and a half. 32. Mississippi State. Figure out what their MTE is, please. Or they're not in one. No, wait, they are. Thursday, November 28th against UNLV. 19-11. Mississippi State MBB schedule. Their MTE is Butler and Northwestern. They should win. They should win all both those games. Sorry. So 20 over under 20.
Is that what Ken Pom has?
They have 19, but they don't have the Butler Northwestern game.
I'll go over 20.
21 and a half.
Hold on, let me look at their schedule real quick. My computer's being slow. What was the number that you floated out there?
21 and a half.
Under.
Yeah, I would go under as well. Would you go under 21?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. I think they win 20. 20 or 21. That'll be their total. 44.
Getting some high numbers here.
Wake Forest. Can we figure out their MTE?
Do they play in one?
I mean, they probably
do. They play in the ESPN Events Invitational. So they open with Florida, and then either play Minnesota or Wichita State.
Is that a 4-team event?
Yes.
Okay, so 19. Would you go over or under 19 and a half?
Over.
20 and a half.
I'd still go over.
21 and a half.
Would you go over on 21?
I don't know. I wouldn't go under 21 though.
Would you go over on under on 21 and a half?
No.
Okay, then we're done here.
218. All right. Just a reminder for those folks watching. This takes time, and we should probably do this off camera.
Yeah. You think?
Colgate.
Ooh. Okay.
Colgate won 25 games last year. 22 of them in the regular season. Their line is 16-15 this year.
We might as well skip this one.
Yeah,
neither one of us is gonna they're gonna win more than 16 games.
335.
And they're gonna go better than 11-7 in the Patriot League.
They're probably gonna go 14-4 at worst.
What number are we at?
335. This is number 2 for us. Nope, we're not betting Lemoyne.
335.
Yeah, we're not betting Lemoyne.
Okay.
Because you don't want to bet MAC teams or teams that I cover. North Carolina Central.
I'd bet you on a MAC team.
Yeah, and I beat you.
I would do it again.
18-13 for North Carolina Central with Lavelle Moten. Would you go over or under 18 and a half?
Hold on, let me look at this league real quick.
That is they're probably the second or third best team in that league.
I think I'd go under.
I'd go under 18 and a half. Would you go under 18?
Yeah.
Would you go under 17 and a half?
Sure, why not?
I go over 17 and a half.
Okay, there we go.
All right, there we go. Let's go Eagles, right.
Let's go sports bar.
Box out, box out, box out. All right, 8 more to go.
Right.
82.
82 is Utah.
Under.
Under. What, did we check their MTE?
No, they already have 31 on here. 16
Okay.
and 15. I'd go under. Would you go under 14 and a half?
No.
Would you go under 15 and a half? Man, that non-conference schedule is absolutely horrific.
I would not go under 15 and a half.
Would you go under 16?
No.
I think I would go under 16. Wait, no, the bottom of the Big 12 is just so bad. You'd go under 16 and a half. You'd go under 16 and a half though, right?
Yeah, but not like I'd go under 16, but not 15 and a half.
115. Oh boy, Northern Iowa. MVC time. What's their MTE again?
They play in the NIT season tip-off with North Texas, Bonaventure, and Utah State. They open that with North Texas.
All right, over under 19 and a half.
Over.
20 and a half.
Over.
21 and a half.
Under.
Yeah.
Teams in the Valley beat each other.
Yeah. I was ready to take the over on 20 and a half, not 21 and a half.
305.
Mr. Miami. This would be Louisiana Monroe. Oh, I feel like I would go under on 11 and a half. Am I just going to be the hater of the bottom of the Sun Belt?
You might be. Is this this is probably what's it, 11 and a half?
11 and a half.
This is probably in under from me.
10 and a half.
I'll go over.
I'll go under.
Okay.
I'm not really confident in it, but I just kind of want to move this along, and I don't really think they're going to be any good. By the way, all these bets are for $1.
Yes, they are.
And usually we go like 4 and 5 or something like that. So we end up splitting it. 226. Valpo.
Another Valley team.
14, over under 14 and a half.
Over.
15 and a half.
Over.
16 and a half.
If you want to go under, I'll go over on 16 and a half.
Let me look at that non-conference
I
schedule.
think that team is way better than...
Oh, man, they have like a bunch of bad games and 2 non-D1s.
If you want to give me 17 and a half, I'll go over on that too.
Okay, I'll go under 17 and a half.
Okay. I'll put myself out there on that one. That team's way better than they...
I don't disagree with you that they're better, but I don't think they're winning 18 games in the regular season.
10 projects them to go 7 and 13 in the Valley. I think they're closer to 10 and 10, and that's like not saying a ton. And like I think I have them 7th in the conference, which means they would be right around 10 and 10. And then like that means they have to win like one more non-con game than like Ken Palm expects. So,
158.
You're gonna be mad if Valpo beats Liberty tomorrow.
GW. GW. 15 and 14. What's the MTE with Kansas State in it?
I will look. It is it's 3 games. It's the Paradise Jam tournament.
Paradise Jam.
They open with Kansas State.
Yep.
Yeah.
At least one of the teams named George in the A10 will be making their international trip this year.
So this team's the worst team in this MTE, in my eyes.
Absolutely. So 15. 15 and a half.
Man,
that non-conference schedule is awful.
I'd go over 15.5.
Would you go over 16.5? Like,
No.
mother of God, that non-conference schedule.
No, like because Ken Palm projects them to go.
Horrendous.
Ken Palm projects them to go like 7-11 in non-con, or
You mean
7-11
7-11.
7-11 in conference play, and that would be a 3-win improvement from a year ago.
Like, they'll lose all 3 games in that MTE. Like, they might not lose
They
another
should.
game.
Like they could beat Longwood in like a 7th place game.
Yeah, but like if they go like they're gonna go 10-3 in the non-con because they're not gonna lose to any of those teams.
You never know, dude.
Okay, they'll probably lose one of them. So they went 13. They went 13-2 last year, I think. Sorry, they were 14-3 and they were 3-1 in the league, and they lost 10 in a row, 12 in a row.
Okay. Simmons and Russillo is good.
140.
That would be
This computer kind of blows.
Richmond. Their MTE is the Gulf Coast Showcase. They open that with who do they open that with? Maine?
Yes.
Other teams in that do they open with Maine?
It's that's an on-campus game.
Oh, okay. Ball State, Eastern Kentucky, Louisiana Tech, Southern Illinois.
All right, 15.5.
I'll go over.
16.5.
I'll go over. If you want to go under.
17.5.
No. Forget it.
I don't know if I want to go. I don't want to bet the under on Chris Mooney like that. Like there are some coaches that just like have a floor.
Was my logic as well.
Like I don't want to take the under on Chris Mooney unless it's like outrageous.
Mm-hmm.
249 would be
Southern
17.5.
over
18.5.
over
19.5.
No, I'm not going 19.5 on a team that I don't know anything about.
We might exhaust our options here. 292.
Cal State Bakersfield.
Rod Barnes. They play 32 games.
No MT.
I don't think they play 32 games. We're going to skip this one.
Okay.
115.
What number are we on?
Northern Iowa. Never mind. 173.
173 is
Oakland.
Okay.
By the way, we have 4. Oakland, 15-14. What's their MTE? Oh, they're Diamond Head. They're in Diamond Head.
Okay.
They probably go 1 and 2 there. So 15.5.
Over.
16.5.
Over.
17.5.
Would you not go under on 16.5?
No.
Okay, I'll go over on 17.5.
18.5.
No. I'm not going 4 wins off the win total. Especially with Campy, who is another one of those coaches that just have a floor.
Would I go under on 17.5? Book that and come back to it. I'm going to think about it. 196. Montana State. 16.5.
Over.
17.5.
Go over again.
18.5.
No.
I'll go over.
On 18.5?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll take it.
I think they're really talented, and I think Matt Logie is an awesome coach.
All right. We have another bet.
That's 5. We're halfway there. You wanted to stop there?
Yeah.
5's good.
5's good.
All right. Let's not. We don't need to do 10.
10's a lot, especially when we're doing this on air.
Yeah. Player over unders. Let's do 2 or 3.
You want me to just throw some out?
Go ahead.
Let me pull up Torvik here. See what he's got projected. Give me a high major team.
Arkansas.
I'll give you Jonas Adu at 10.8.
Over.
I'll go under. I'll take you on that.
All right. There we go.
Give me another one. Another team.
No, you give me a team.
Stanford. I don't know why
All
I said
right.
Stanford.
Let's do Darren Saran over under 10.3 points.
I'll go over.
Chizo Makpara over under 17.5 points plus rebounds.
Hold on. $17.5 points plus rebounds.
He had 21.5 last year.
Under.
I'll go over.
Okay.
All right, one more.
Yeah. Give me someone.
Michigan.
Danny Wolf, 1.6 assists.
No, I'm not betting on 1.6 assists.
Okay.
I would go under on those Vlad Golden numbers.
I would too.
I would go under on like 11.5 maybe for Vlad Golden.
Points?
Yeah. Like, what did he average last year? It couldn't have been much more than that.
I'm going to go to a different team.
Hold on.
I didn't
Wait,
really
Vlad averaged 16 and 7 last year? What? In 25? No, he didn't.
Stevie Mitchell, 10.6 points.
I don't want to bet on Marquette's role, guys. Just not confident enough.
Okay.
I'd go way over on Chase Ross 7.1.
Yeah, that's.
I don't know if I'd go over on Chase Ross 10, but I think I'd go over on Chase Ross 9.
Okay. Will Riley, 10.9 points.
I'm so not betting on Will Riley. That is like the player that I am least likely to bet on in the entire country. But Torvik has him projected for 10.9.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. I mean, I think he's probably going to average 8, but I would not be surprised if he just came out and averaged 14.
What about Blue Cane, 10.7?
I feel like I'd go over, but I'm not comfortable.
Okay.
What would you say to... Oh my God. Torvik thinks Dawson Baker is averaging 17. Would you go over or under Dawson Baker 7?
7. Under.
Me too.
I'd set his line at like 4.5.
Yeah. I think I'd go over on 4.5, but I'm not sure. What would you say to 14 for Miles Rice?
Over.
15.
Dude, there's so many players. I'm not going all lines for these.
Javon Hadley, 17 and 7? Dude. What is Torvik on? Javon Hadley, 12.
Under.
Yeah.
Jaleel Bethia, 12.9.
Not betting on Jaleel. I don't want to bet on freshmen.
That's the whole fun of it.
Tucker DeVries, 17.3.
Under.
Over.
Okay.
Wait, no. No, I'm not going over on that. Jacoby Gillespie, 15.
Under.
I shouldn't have set that fucking line. Because now I'm forced to go over because of my thoughts on Jacoby Gillespie, and I'm just gonna have 3. I want to take an under.
Okay, I'll find you one that I want to go over on. Simeon
right.
Wilcher, 7.6.
No, not going under that.
Well, Simeon's not going to be the breakout.
Braziller said today he thinks they're going to easy. Braziller said today he thinks that Sim's going to be their leading scorer.
I don't think Sim's going to be their breakout guy.
I don't, but like I'm not willing to risk that on like $1. I think Zuby's their breakout guy, straight up.
You want to take an under?
Yes, I want to take an under.
Chad Baker Mazzara, 11.2.
Not comfortable going under.
Okay.
I'd go under 12.
Chance
Thank you, Sidelines JMU, for your take that JMU goes further in March than last year. That really means a lot coming from Sidelines JMU.
Yeah. Really.
What were you saying?
Parker Fredrickson, 7.2.
I would go over that.
I would too.
Dude, I would go over like 10 for him.
Trey Holloman, 8.5.
I'd go under 9.5.
No. Dre Davis, 13.2.
I'd go under 14.
Stop giving me alt lines, dude.
All right, I'll go under 13.2.
Done. I'll take over.
All right. Random games?
Yeah.
Dude, we never end up watching them.
We need to set reminders this year.
We did that last year and it didn't work. Random date between November 4 and March 3.
What day did it say?
Well, we're figuring it out. $11:20 and 2:26.
I'll go to 11:20. You go to 2:26.
Okay, 2:26 is a Thursday. It's a Wednesday. All right.
11:20 is also a Wednesday.
We've got Mercer, East Tennessee State. East Tennessee State is -6.
Dude, just find a game that's like a 1 or 2 point spread.
All right.
November 20th, South Dakota at Western Michigan. Western Michigan is a 1 point favorite. Who do you like?
South Dakota or Western Michigan?
Yeah.
Both those teams stink, right?
Point.
Who's at home?
Western Michigan.
Give me Western Michigan.
I'll take South Dakota.
All right. Western Michigan over South Dakota. 11-20-24. And then how about Georgia State, Coastal Carolina? Georgia State is a 2-point road favorite.
Give me Coastal.
I'll take Georgia State.
All right. Beautiful.
All right, Jonathan. Christmas Eve.
We have our
We're going to
show.
turn to Christmas Day. What do you got to say?
I just cannot wait to wake up and
All right, give me the top 3 things you're most excited for tomorrow.
Cooper Flag. Box score watching.
What'd you say?
Box score watching.
Okay.
The Vout.
Okay. Top 3 things I'm most excited for tomorrow. College basketball Twitter.
You get to attend a game tomorrow.
Stepping in. Well, it's going to be game 4 for me.
I am covering a game tomorrow. I don't get to attend, though.
Stepping into the Dome for a regular season game, talking to Nate and the guys at Lemoyne. And MAC basketball. Jonathan, do the honors for the final time this offseason. Take us home on season 5 episode 31.
If you came to hear about Tyler Self and where he's working, you came to the right place. If you came to hear about gremlins in the Pacific Ocean or whatever ocean, you came to the right place. And if you came to hear about Caleb Grill, who will hopefully play very well tomorrow against Memphis, and what he's up to, you came to the right place. This is Season 5, Episode 31 of Brackets, Bubbles, and Bid Stealers. Have a great season, everyone.